Alexa, turn on studio. Good afternoon, as it's just afternoon as we hit the air. I'm Dave McHugh. Welcome into Hoopsville. Hope you are enjoying the season. It is that time of year where things have gotten wacky. We are in the closing days of the final season, and I've got yet another cold. This has not happened in years where I've gotten multiple colds in a year, but here we are. If you got questions for us, email us, hoopsville at d3sports.com. Join us on Twitter at d3hoopsville, hashtag Hoopsville, facebook.com/Hoopsville, etc., etc. All that information at the bottom of the screen. Also, support our work at buymeacoffee.com/Hoopsville. Make a donation or become a Hoopsville member today. Welcome to the show that's the only dedicated show to Division III in basketball. That's not fair. It's not the only show. It's the first, I should have said. First show dedicated to Division III basketball. It's Thursday the 26th, and calendar is turning towards the most exciting time of the year. Conference tournaments in full swing, and it's win or go home for many. We're crisscrossing the country on today's show, talking to teams that are heating up just as stakes are reaching their peak. Did you notice? I'm trying something new. I'm trying to get a little bit more organized in my thoughts. A little bit more scripted, as it were. Today, we've got our following guests. We'll talk to Bowdoin women's basketball. The 8th-ranked Polar Bears are going strong in the NESCAC. We'll talk to Megan Phelps and Grace Kinham. And we'll also talk to Cortland men's basketball coach Maurice Kearney, about his 21-4 Dragons, who are on a 13-game winning streak. St. Mary's women's basketball had the best and the most amazing comeback I've seen, and the most amazing goose egg I've seen. We'll talk to the women's coach there, Courtney Shelton, about their push into the next round of the MIAC tournament, which included one of the more amazing fourth quarters you'll see in a box score alone. And then Pitt-Greensburg will join us from the AMCC. We're dabbling into Region 7 twice in two shows, both on the men's side. Kind of breaks our rule a little bit. We felt we had to go there. We'll talk to Chris Klimchuk about his Pitt-Greensburg team, who's 21-4 this campaign. All of that plus your questions. If you have anything else you'd like to chat about, we will do our best to interact with you. You can do so also on our live stream. You might be noticing what I'm wearing if you're watching the show. It's a Hood jersey. If you've watched our unwrapping series, Hood sent us a jersey, and I noticed when I was unpacking it, it looked good enough to wear. It is good enough to wear, so Hood, I'm wearing it. All right? I'm repping the Hood. Yes, I know the green under the black looks weird, but I had to find an undershirt. And if you've noticed, we have a whole new set of uniforms up on the wall. Not how I wanted to do it. I wanted to get more on the wall, but we ran out of time. But we've got most of what has been sent in and then some. To be honest, we've run out of hangers. We need more hangers. And we're not talking just normal hangers, folks. These are specialty hangers. I should have grabbed one of them to show you. But Mary Washington, Mount Union, you can barely see Redlands, which got sent to us over the summer. Mount St. Joseph, Vassar, the Dewhawks here of Loris, TCNJ, Merchant Marine. And then if you go over here, it's our old school wall. Cabrini and Villa Julie. Yeah, how about those jerseys right there? And there's a few behind me on the floor, not on the floor, but just laid against a wall that you can't see, that we can't put up just yet because those videos haven't come out yet. That's how this works. We don't want to give away the videos. So those are on the wall. Thank you to all the coaches who sent more in. I'm not kidding when I say we need more of these specialty hangers. We have them on our Amazon wish list. If you go to our show page, there is a link to our wish list. You can find them there. We may have to resort to normal hangers, which I know Merchant Marine sent us a version. Some others have. They've broken on the way here. We'll do our best to maybe utilize those as well, but these specialty hangers are pretty cool. The only disadvantage is I had to take a bunch off their hangers to put the new ones up. That's how low we are. I think roughly, we have maybe, well, we have more than 30 uniforms, that's for sure. I think we're closer to 40. I'm going to have to double check. Again, the marquee is up in the right order. It's going to be Cortland, St. Mary's, Minnesota, Bowdoin, followed by Pitt-Greensburg. That is the order of the show today. Let Lots to talk about. Obviously, the conference tournaments are fully underway, and I don't know who wrote the article last night for D3 Hoops. I suspect it's Pat Coleman, but it definitely rings like a Gordon Mann headline. Wednesday, 6-7 seeds advance to finals. Man, we are leaning in hard on that one, but it is true. Cayuga, the 7th seed in the Empire 8, is playing for the conference title, and in the CUNYAC, the 6th seed, CCNY, will continue to dance as well. And the 6th seed in the MASCAC women, Anne-Marie, along with the 6th seed in the GNAC women, Albertus Magnus, have all moved on in their conference tournaments. It is an absolute wild conference tournament in many ways. While others are a little bit more chalky, some conference tournaments have been wild. Remember, d3hoops.com is your home for the conference trackers. You can go on there to find the conference trackers for men's and women's basketball. If you're interested in NPI numbers, our friends at d3datacast.com and the d3statlab.com are your places to go. D3 Datacast has both men and women, but they seem to really focus more on the men. They have the women's data, but over there on the women's side is the d3statlab.com. That is Scott Peterson, where he dives in with his own data analytics on the women's side. So go to those websites, check them out. They've got plenty of great information. We talked about the new top 25, which is the penultimate regular season top 25. Next week will be the final one for the regular season ahead of the postseason and the second to last one in general. Randolph-Macon's a new number 1 on the men's side, followed by Trinity, Emory, Chicago, St. Thomas, Montclair. Of those 6, only Chicago did not receive a first place vote. Trinity got 4, Emory got 2, St. Thomas got 6, sitting in the 5th spot. Montclair got 1. It's me, if you're wondering. On the women's side, Scranton and NYU continue to dominate the top. NYU is number 1, 15 points ahead of Scranton. NYU's got 19 first-place votes. That's down from 20. Scranton's got 6, up from 5. Scott Peterson admitted on the Monday show that's him switching votes. Then it's Hopkins, W, and L, followed by Oshkosh. The top 5 remain the same. Denison and Smith swapped places at 6, 7. See what I did there. And then Bowdoin at 8. Nobody fell out of the women's top 25, which means nobody entered. On the men's side, 3 teams fell out: Carthage, Whitworth, and Oshkosh. Entering were Whitewater, WashU, and Roanoke. So there is the short version of a recap at the busiest time of the year. Let's talk scheduling just for the rest of the way. Sunday, we will have a selection show. I'm still working on the timing. Here's my challenge. I believe the gig I have that day is at, well, I'm going to check now. Let's not do the belief thing, right? That stinks. It's at 2 p.m., so that's good. So I have a gymnastics meet at 2 p.m. It's a quad meet, so it will take time. But that probably means I'll be home by 5:30. There's an outside chance I can get on the air by 6, but maybe 6:30. Need to figure that out literally later today. And that selection show, obviously, Pat hosted it last year when it was in its first form. It's different this year because of the fact that we don't have to select teams anymore. We still call it Selection Sunday for the alliteration and simplicity. What we'll probably do is what we will do is talk to some of the upsets in Division III. We'll talk to some of the teams that have popped some bubbles, gotten a bid, earned their way into the conference tournament with their play on the floor. Maybe, most likely, teams that wouldn't have gotten in otherwise. That's not always a guarantee. We may talk to some teams that have punched their bubble that we're going to get in anyway, but now may be in a hosting position as a result. So we'll talk to a handful of teams. We'll also talk to, hopefully, the committee chairs briefly to understand how bracketing is going. And then I'm going to talk to the guys, see if we can get anybody on like Ryan to talk about bracketing. Where are we seeing, as we now have the teams pretty much in set from the NPI, what do we expect from bracketing? So the show tends to be a little bit on the lengthier side. We'll try and answer a lot of your questions if we can, et cetera, et cetera. Then on Monday, 4 p.m. is our aiming point, 4 p.m. Eastern for our bracket breakdown. I will be on the NCAA shows, which I'm looking forward to once again. Those shows will be at 1 p.m. for the men, Eastern time, 2:30 for the women. So that's why we're aiming for 4 p.m. for the bracket show. It'll be a long and busy day, which is why I'm just making the call now. We're not going to do a top 25 show on Tuesday. I'm going to need a day to go, oh, Lord, let me recover, because I then have a busy rest of the week. So Monday, 4 p.m., we'll talk to both committee chairs again about the bracketing at that point and maybe a coach or two about the tournament. And then we're back to our normal selves on Thursday the 5th, noon Eastern. Now note, the following week, we will be airing shows at 7 p.m. Eastern because I will be in Florida for my other job. And so we'll be doing our shows, we're planning, from a hotel room, not the lovely Hoopsville studios. But the WBCA studio does travel, and so we will be on the road for those. It'll be a little different, but we're looking forward to doing those on the road. Maybe a little more Bob Quillman style in terms of how it looks. I don't know if I can get as good a backdrop as Bob Quillman can, or Ryan Scott. So that is the following week leading into the round of 16, and then we'll be back home to do a show on Monday the 16th ahead of the round of 8. Or the weekend in Fort Wayne, I should say. We will not have a show the rest of that week. I mean, we could consider doing one on the 19th, but be honest with you, I'm probably going to be, well, we'll play it by ear. We could maybe do one from a hotel room or something, but I'm honestly going to be in recovery mode because it's going to be so busy at that point in time. And then after the Elite Eight weekend, I got to figure out when we can do the show. We might have to do it on the 24th because I have to be at Nationals Park on the 23rd. And we may not be back in time to do one that night. So I probably have to push the show to the 24th. Obviously, we'll have a women's champ by that point, but the men will be down to their final 2. And then we'll play it by ear. So that's kind of the shows in the next few weeks for you there on your docket in case you're curious or want to keep track of those things accordingly. Again, if you got questions for us, email us, hoopsville at d3sports.com. You can join us on Twitter at d3hoopsville or hashtag Hoopsville. You can message us on Facebook. We are on Facebook as well, facebook.com/Hoopsville. I'm trying to switch over to the Hoopsville account, but Facebook seems to be maybe acting up today. Oh, no, it seems like it maybe finally woke up there, and now we're switching over. We're also email, hoopsville at d3sports.com. That's hoopsville at d3sports.com. So there you go. Trying to think if we got anything else to mention. Oh, we're also on TikTok, by the way. We're putting out these unwrapped videos on TikTok. Trying something new. You can find us there. I think we're D3 Hoopsville on TikTok. I think. I don't know. We'll double check. So, conference tournaments are underway. Lots to talk about in Division III. Plenty to deal with. Teams that are trying to punch their tickets, even if they're locks, trying to at least get some hosting opportunities in place. There's a lot to still understand, and that's why we'll talk to our guests from Cortland, St. Mary's, Minnesota, Bowdoin, and Pitt-Greensburg today about their scenarios, and we will start with Cortland. We will talk to their head coach, Maurice Kearney, coming up here momentarily, and we'll get rolling from there. You're listening to Hoopsville, presented by D3Hoops.com from the WBCA studios. Back with a whole lot more as we get rolling on this Monday afternoon here on Hoopsville.
We've got more schools than Division I, more fans than Division II, and more upsets than March Madness. There's nearly 850 programs with over 11,000 games leading to 2 national championships. And we've been covering it all for over 2 decades. From Eastern to Occidental, from Puget Sound to Piedmont, from Southwestern to the University of New England, and from Hope to Calvin. Nobody covers Division III basketball like we do. We're D3Hoops.com at www.d3hoops.com.
The National Association of Basketball Coaches is the nation's premier professional development and advocacy organization for basketball coaches at every level. The NABC strives to serve as the voice for coaches on national issues while advancing the core value of leadership, service, advocacy, education, and inclusion. To learn more about the NABC and to become a member, visit NABC.com and follow the NABC on social media at NABC 1927. That's NABC.com or NABC 1927 on social media.
It's on us to stop sexual assault.
In any way that we can.
To get a friend home safe.
To never blame the victim.
It's on us.
To stand up.
To make our community safe for all.
It's on us.
It's on us to look out for each other at parties.
It's on us.
To be more than just a bystander.
To step up and say something.
It's on us, all of us.
To stop sexual assault.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
If I lose, I'll respond with respect.
If I win, I'll back it up with humility.
If I fail, I'll rise up with honor. It's tough for us to put it all on the line.
Don't undo my hard work with poor sportsmanship.
Respect. It's the name of the game.
Coach of the Year, Administrator of the Year, All-America Team, Wade Trophy. The WBCA doesn't just honor coaches, but players, administrators, and much more. The WBCA strives to honor those who have contributed to the advancement of women's basketball. Celebrate the present, honor the past, look to the future.
I used to never really talk, ever. I was afraid if I said something wrong, everyone would laugh at me. But then I started to play golf with Special Olympics. It helped me to find my voice. And now everyone else is speechless.
Welcome back to Hoopsville, everybody. As we continue to roll around, again, make sure to help us out. Support us on become a Hoopsville member. Well, the Top 25 show is still available only to Hoopsville members for this week. We'll release it at some point in the near future, but go to buymeacoffee.com/Hoopsville, sign up for role player or higher, you get access to that. And I will get my Top 25 posted here soon. I apologize, everybody. It is time of year where it's very busy, but we'll get that posted for our role player and higher members as well. You can also just make a straight donation and buy me a coffee because I like coffee. Do you get this? You get it. Okay. Buymeacoffee.com/Hoopsville is how you go about doing so. Screen information there for you to decipher. On that note, let's turn it over to where we're headed. We head to the Central New York. Red Dragons are breathing fire. I'm trying something new, folks. I'm trying to be witty and try some new writing. Okay. Bear with me. Where was I? Cortland enters the postseason, entering a 13-game winning streak, sitting at 21-4 overall. Locked up a share of the SUNYAC regular season title, looking to defend their 2025 conference crown, starting in the semifinals tomorrow. Joining us talking about the Red Dragon momentum and sights on a deep run in March is Maurice Mo Kearney. Coach, good to see you. Welcome back. I hope I got all that all right. I'm kind of relying on a little bit of witty writing nowadays.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there, Dave. Did an awesome job. Awesome job. No,
how are you?
Definitely appreciate you having me on. I'm good. It's end of February here, and we're playing some meaningful games. So can't be feeling any better, honestly.
Fair point. And listen, this conference is wild, as it always is, but it also feels like it's been flying a little under the radar this season for maybe a host of different reasons. Like, I don't want to pin it on anything in particular, but from your perspective, what's the season been like in the SUNYAC, and from both the internal side of it and how you feel externally it's been known or it's been watched?
Yeah, I would say it's a good league. It's always been a good league. I've been a part of the SUNYAC now for, 15 years, as a player, assistant coach, associate head coach, and now my third year as a head coach. And so it's always been a reputable league. It's been a competitive league. I think it's a league full of really good coaches and really good players that kind of go on the wayside and unhitting a little bit. But it's good. I mean, obviously we're 17-1 and we only had one conference loss, but it's not like every game was a cakewalk for us. We had to plan, we had to prepare our guys for the task at hand going into these games, knowing that, we have some really good players and really good coaches on the other side. And so there's some good basketball day in and day out. There's a lot of different styles of play, which makes our conference unique. And so, very excited that it's conference tournament time, and we're going to see what we're made of here. But I have tons of respect again for the conference and the coaches and the players that are part of it, as it's typically some good basketball.
Well, it's also changed, and I know it's beating the dead horse maybe a little bit at this point, but you now have a little bit of a different look to this conference, and it's continuing to evolve. It will continue to evolve past that, and that's thrown a lot of wrenches into things, including travel. How has adjusting to that been compared to keeping focused on the task at hand?
Yeah, I would say we're pretty fortunate and lucky being located in Central New York. That T word in travel is something that we don't look at as a negative aspect, maybe like a lot of other teams, because we can get to a lot of campuses and not that, crazy of a drive. And so it's a little different, but, it's year 2 of it being different. And then next year is going to look even more different. And so, I don't get paid enough money to make those decisions. And, all I got to do is play the teams that are on the schedule from a conference standpoint, and we got to try to do our best as a staff to get our guys ready to go. And so, conference realignment, it started a couple of years ago at the Division I level, and it just trickled down into Division II and Division III. It's excited for change. Change sometimes is good, but I can say I do miss some of the old Brockport, Geneseo battles, and with New Paltz leaving, I'm going to miss that battle, because that was typically a home game for us traveling downstate, because we got a lot of alumni and former players that live down there. And so, I don't know, maybe we give Keith Kenny a call and maybe get them on a non-conference schedule at some point over the next few years. But
that wouldn't be the worst idea.
No. I mean, it's different. It'll continue to change. It'll continue to be different. But again, we're going to continue to play the games that are on our schedule. And like I said before, being in Central New York, we can get to a lot of different places a lot quicker and sooner than, other teams in our conference.
Your team seems to be, they're good in a lot of facets when you look at it from a statistical perspective. One of the things I think I've gotten from you is that defense has kind of been the focal point. Averaging 61 points per game, certainly solid, nothing to shake a stick at. But when you look at statistics nationally, what jumps out at me is sorry, the screen jumped on me. There we go. Scoring defense is 6th in the nation. That's that 61.2 we were talking about. Scoring margin as a result is 5th in the nation at more than 16 points a game. 3-point defense is 8th in the nation. You're only allowing 27.8. These are the stats as of this morning. Well, at the same time, by the way, 3-pointers per game offensively is 18th in the nation. 10 per game. Obviously, a lot of defensive stats. Field goal defensive stat also is 38.3. Okay, that's what we see from the outside. We could see it on the game plan. Well, we can watch it in the video, I should say. How does it really manifest itself in the Hudl, locker room, and practices?
I got the best staff in the country. I'm going to give kudos to my assistant coaches. I think they do an incredible job of preparing our guys with our scouts, and kudos to our players of buying in and continuing to believe in the process, believe in our game plan and what we're trying to do. Our guys have a very clear understanding that as a head coach, I am a defensive guy. And so we do give them freedom on the offensive side to take good shots and go do their thing, knowing that, I'm going to demand a lot and we're going to demand a lot out of them from a defensive standpoint. And we just talk a lot about, I always felt as a player and when I got going as a coach is that playing defense and competing on that side of the ball will always give yourself a chance to win games, right? You're going to make shots, you're going to miss shots, especially on the road. But if you have a mentality that I'm going to go ahead and stop the other team in front of me and limit them to one shot, you're always going to give yourself a chance. Like last year, we won some rock fights in the 50s and the 40s. This year, obviously, we're scoring a ball at a lot higher clip, but, we're going to always hang our hat on defense. And typically at the start of games, I always write on the board, or I've written a couple of times, that defense is going to win us this game. Offense is going to tell us by how much. And so we really hang our hat on defending and making things tough for the other team in front of us.
Fascinating perspective. I certainly dig that. Talk about these players, though. It's going to come from an offensive perspective, but we can talk about both sides. Aaron Costin kind of leading the way, kind of becomes your number one on the floor at 14.2 points a game, nearly 8 rebounds a game, shoots 60% from the floor, 40% from deep. The only thing he doesn't like doing is shooting from the free throw line. 65%. But also leader in terms of assists. He's one of the top guys in terms of steals. Obviously, it feels like it all starts with Aaron.
Honestly, Dave, it all starts with everyone. And that's what makes us pretty unique and pretty special. That, like, how about this, right? We've played 18 conference games. Aaron Costin won SUNYAC Player of the Week 2 weeks ago. He was our first SUNYAC Player of the Week all season. And we've lost one conference game. And I think that just kind of shows you.
Sounds like the conference office is against you.
I'm not going to point any fingers.
No.
It really shows you just like how dangerous we are, and our message of, like, listen, the ball is going to find the right guy. You know, one player might have 25 on Friday, and another guy might have 23 the next day on Saturday. You know, and so we're pretty diverse. We got 3 guys averaging double figures, 2 guys averaging 9, 1 guy averaging 8, and so. Yes, Aaron is our leading scorer and leading assist guy and leader in steals, but it's a complete group effort. And that's what makes us, I feel like, a very dangerous team, because you can't just put one guy at the top of your scouting report. You have to put 2, 3, 4, maybe even 5 guys that you have to worry about, because any given day, someone can beat you from an offensive standpoint.
Sure, logical. And we look at that because Kendall Curie has got 13.5 points a game, also 7 boards per contest, and shoots extremely well in all facets of the game. Isaiah Austin at 11 points a game, also shoots the ball extremely well in all facets of the game. Joel Davis, 10 points a game, essentially. Maybe the least proficient shooter from outside, but again, you've got options. Noel Raymond, we should point out, 9.2 points a game, shoots the ball well from all facets of the game. Every single one of those guys hands out assists. Every one of those guys gets steals. Most of those guys get blocks. Everyone, for the most part, rebounds. Like that, to your point, you've got a lot of different options with this group, and that kind of makes you guys a scary team when it comes to March.
Yeah, I agree. And that's what it's been, right? The message is, like, guys, basketball is a very simple game. As humans, we make it very complex, right? Like, draw 2, find an open teammate, right? Defend, rebound, take care of the ball. If you're open, shoot it. If you're not, kick it. And we're a little bit like old school, new school, right? I think we post up a ton with Aaron, Kendall, and Joel, but we also lead our conference for the 3rd straight years in 3-pointer attempts. And so I've had a lot of people ask me, like, do you go into these games like wanting to shoot 29, 30, 32 threes? And I'm like, no, our game plan offensively is to find the open man. And because our forwards garner a lot of attention down low, we get a lot of catch and shoot threes, which that's what we want, right? I'm not a crazy data analytical guy, but we want to generate catch and shoot threes. And we don't take a lot off the dribble. We don't take a ton of mid ranges. And so we work a lot on end practices and trying to find the open guy. And so we love when we walk into the locker room at the end of games, and, we've had 60% of our made baskets came off of an assist, and we've had 22 plus assists. And like, that makes us happy, knowing that, we got guys that can make threes, and we put 5 guys on the court that can make a 3. But it's about, again, just trying to play the right way. We say simple wins, less is more. And so that's kind of the brand of basketball that we're going to put out there.
Sorry, I was checking my phone. Mike Blaine from Plattsburgh's listening. He wanted more of the scouting report, if you could give it to him.
Mike Blaine, we're going to play 40 minutes of 3-2 zone. Done.
Yeah.
Prepare for it.
I don't see that coming. Mike might be hopped up coming out of the hospital. We'll talk about that in a moment, but I don't think he's even buying that. again, you make the tournament last year, right? Like this 20-win season is outstanding. It's the first time since 2015-16. It's great. Last year you made the tournament 17-12, 13-5, and you were handed NYU. Good luck, right?
Yeah.
How obviously you are in a position now to be in a better spot bracket-wise.
Yep.
But it requires finishing the job.
Correct.
How do you approach that knowledge without it becoming overbearing to anybody else in the locker room and becoming the elephant?
No, Dave, honestly, like we're very upfront and honest with our group, right? Like coming into the year, there was a lot of noise about, around campus, around the community of like, oh, you guys return everyone, you're going to win it. And like, over the summer and in the fall, we reminded our guys a lot about the last time we stepped on the floor together versus NYU and what that game looked like. We reminded our guys a lot that the reason why we played NYU is because our full body of work and what we didn't do during the season. Obviously we got hot to end the season, but at the end of the day, Dave, we were 2-7 the first weekend of January coming off that Middlebury tournament. And so we were able to figure things out and put it together and go on a run. And we're fortunate enough to be playing our best basketball at the end of February, which was always the goal, even from Tom Spanbauer, who I played for. And so the guys understand it, like, and they know coming into this year, we had an opportunity or have an opportunity to have a special season with what we brought back. We have a lot of continuity within our coaching staff. We have really good players who are better people off the court. And we were very upfront. Like we showed our guys the D3 Datacast, NPI website. Like we sat them in a classroom and we said, guys, listen, we have an opportunity to have a really good year. As a staff, we put together a schedule that from the non-conference standpoint, if it held strong, we were going to put ourselves in a position to not have to face a team like NYU in the first round. But we also knew that winning our conference wasn't going to be given. We had to earn that right. And we still do, right? Like, even though we went 17-1, there's no guarantee that we're going to go ahead and obviously win these two games this weekend. And so, we immediately attacked the elephant in the room. Like, guys, we played NYU in the first round last year. We knew going into it, we're going against a buzzsaw. In order to give ourselves a chance to have a favorable matchup, which we know the game of basketball is about matchups, we have to take care of business in the non-conference. And so, like last year, we went 1-6. This year, we went 4-3. And then we've been able to take care of business in the regular season conference play to put ourselves in a position to have a better seeding and to have a better matchup to hopefully give ourselves a chance to win games in March. And so we addressed it right away, Dave. We didn't shy away from it. We talked about it. And our guys had an understanding of what we needed to do, full body of work in our 25 games in the regular season.
So they understand it's win or go home because it doesn't look like there's an avenue to get in as an at-large.
Nope, they know. They knew that going into the Florida trip, we needed to go 2-0 or at least 1-1. They understood that. Losing to Rochester in the first game of the conference opener was tough without Kendall or Curry, but we still had a chance to win that game. And then, losing to Oneonta at home in January, we understood that put us behind the 8 ball of getting a Pool C bid. And so, yeah, we're very aware that, like, as great of a season that we've had, we still have to go win 2 games this weekend to be playing next weekend in March.
Yeah, we should point out to anybody not aware, you went 0-2, unfortunately, in Florida, losing to Dubuque, hanging on the wall, and Gustavus. Yeah. Sorry, shameless plug. We should also point out, listen, you talked about, being the player, being the assistant coach, now being the head coach of your alma mater and how much you bleed the red, right? Or breathe the fire or whatever you want to do or whatever Fran tells me to say, you'd say. God love Fran. One of the best SIDs in the world.
Shout out to Fran.
But you also left. You went to the big city. You went to the big lights. You went to NYU. Sorry, I'm having a little fun with the alliteration of going from a small town to the big city here. You got the year with NYU. You got them to the NCAA tournament. Then you came back as head coach for this program. Have you taken anything from that NYU experience and brought back, and to be fair, is 1 year not enough to truly be able to, change anything that you did necessarily?
Honestly, Dave, I took everything. Like literally the biggest suitcase I could find. I took it all. I put it in the suitcase, put it in my car, and I brought it right back up with me in Central New York.
I was going to say, good thing it's a drive, not a flight.
Yeah, I said, thanks, Dave Klosky. Thanks, Ethan Feldman. Thanks, Chris Thompson. I appreciate you for everything that I've learned here in my 8 or 9 months. I'm going back to Central New York, and I'm going to use everything that we took in this 1 year to help turn this NYU program around and get them back to national relevance. And I'm going to go ahead and try to simulate it and put my own little twist on it. And so, but like, honestly, to answer your question, Dave, like me leaving to go to NYU to work for Dave Klosky was the best decision that I made from a professional career standpoint. Like Dave did an incredible job of throwing me into the fire. I did a lot of things as an assistant coach that I did not do in my time here at Cortland. And I think I developed tremendously on and off the court from that standpoint. And so a lot of what we do offensively, defensively, scouting reports, film breakdowns, drills, day to day, like I would say 90% of it is from what I learned in my 8 to 9 months at NYU. And then about 10% of it is like my experiences that I went through with Cortland. And so, I'm super, super grateful for the time that I spent at NYU. It allowed me to spend, I think, my 31st or 30th birthday at home. So my first birthday at home since my 18th birthday. And my wife is also from Long Island. So it was great to get her back home. And so
doesn't mean you two make good decisions.
Yeah.
Long Island? So, come on, you're crazy.
I know. But no, I learned so much, and I'm super grateful for the opportunity working with Dave, Ethan, and Chris. Those guys are awesome. And I'm still rooting for the Violets. And now the Florida Gators.
No, see, you didn't have to add that Florida Gator part. We once they go D3, man, or D1, man, they're dead to us. They're dead. Potsky's dead. I love how he was behind the bench for the Final Four, and everyone's like, he's like not talking about where he's going. We're like, well, you're leaving. We all can see it, my man. You're wearing Florida colors, like Lord. Quick question about the Cortland side of it, though. Obviously, by the way, going from Long Island to be living in Cortland, that is a decision, sir. Your wife also is a former Cortland player, we should point out. So there's obviously a tie for both of you to the Cortland school and area and all that. Tell me what it means to you, because obviously, it is something you hold dear since you're player, assistant, now head coach.
Yeah, no, this is a special place. It's a special place with special people. I'm a first generation student. And so, SUNY Cortland gave me a degree, both at the undergraduate level, at the graduate level. Obviously met my wife here, Lindsay. She was a basketball player, like you mentioned. We bought our first house in Cortland. We have our first son. We didn't have him in Cortland. We were fortunate enough to be down in Long Island next to grandma and grandpa and the rest of the family during our time. But no, it means so much. This was always the dream job, right? Like when I made the decision that I didn't want to go ahead and coach high school basketball and be a PE teacher, that I wanted to fully dive into college athletics, this was always the job, right? Like I understood the assignment. I knew what it was about. I knew it was a special place from the enrollment side of things, the majors, the resources, the facilities, our administration. They're incredible. And it's a lot of people walking around our campus that are also alum. And so they feel the same sentiment like I do. And it's all about experience. Like we tell our guys all the time, I understand the shoes that you're walking in and the steps because I did it. And our job as a staff is to give you a better experience than I had, right? Like my top assistant, Ben Walters, I coached him here at Cortland. So he understands it. He gets it. One of my assistant, Gus O'Connell, he's from Cortland, born and raised. And so there's a lot of people on our staff that really, truly bleed the Cortland red. And so it's a special place, and I'm excited to be wrapping up, hopefully not shortly, my third year as a head coach. Because I think it's special, and I know there's a lot of special things that can be done here. And so super grateful, super blessed, and excited to kind of really continue to keep this thing rolling as we go throughout these next few weeks here.
Well, Mo, I appreciate the time you gave us to talk about that momentum. Congratulations on what you guys have achieved. I'll be fascinated to see what they give you on the bracket as if you get that far. Obviously, you got to get through the SUNYAC first, and so that takes priority, and I'll be watching. Mike's already been texting me some questions. I won't ask him. I'm kidding. Mike's not doing any of that.
I just hope Mike can make the trip.
Yeah, exactly. We'll talk about that in a second, but I agree with you entirely. Mo, take care of yourself. We'll look forward to catching up with you soon. As always, you give the guests the final word. Any final thoughts you want to share with those tuned in?
Yeah, I'm just, again, very excited. It's been 13 years since we've won the regular season and hosted. 13 years ago, I was a junior on a team that went 24-5. And so I can still remember what the gym looked like 13 years ago hosting. And I'm very excited with Red Dragon Nation, the turnout we're going to have tomorrow night as we take on Plattsburgh, 7:30. So make sure you're there. And then just, Dave, want to give you and your team your flowers. You know, you, Ryan, Bob Quillman, Matt and Zach Snyder, Ryan, Scott Peterson, like really, really, really love what you guys do for the game of basketball at the Division III level as you advocate for it. It's some really good basketball. There's a ton of really good coaches, a ton of really good players. And so wanted to give you and everyone else that advocate for the game, your guys' flowers as a staff. We're always tuned into the show. We live on D3 Datacast around this time of the year, just trying to figure out what it might look like if we have the opportunity to continue to be playing next weekend. And so thanks for having me on. I look forward for an exciting weekend and continue to do great things for Division III. So thank you.
Thank you, Mo. If Mike does make it, just kick him in the other leg. See what happens.
All right. Noted.
Yeah. He's going to kill me.
Dave.
He's going to absolutely kill me. Hey, you take care of yourself. Good luck. Thanks again, and we'll talk soon.
All right. Sounds good. Bye.
Mo Kearney joining us here on the Hoopsville Hotline. I'm joking because I know Mike watches the show or listens to the podcast, so this is a little tease to see when he finally texts me to know when he actually finally listened to this episode. He was in the hospital. He tweeted out after their last win as they got an overtime win over New Paltz to advance at Plattsburgh. He had a medical emergency. He wasn't on the sideline. We're hoping he will be there for the next game. I think he has been discharged, but our best to Mike Blaine and all of he is going through. We'll take a break. When we come back. Minnesota on tap. We're heading out to the land of many lakes and many curling to talk basketball with St. Mary's, Minnesota. You're listening to Hoopsville, presented by D3 Hoops from the WBCA studios.
For the love of the game. But for those of us who are Division III student athletes, it's more than that. A lot more.
Sure, the game is important, but as we work so hard to build both mind and body, it's more about team.
That is why NCAA Division III teamed up with Special Olympics. And in giving the gift of sport to those for whom it seemed an impossible dream, we are working to make this a better world.
Help us keep that dream alive.
You can make a difference.
We are the coaches of women's basketball. We are leaders and teachers, dreamers and winners. We are professionals who conduct ourselves ethically and with integrity. We place the education, safety, and well-being of the athletes we coach above all else and teach them the fundamental values they need to succeed in life. We are coaches united for the good of our game and those who play it. We are the WBCA.
We've got more schools than Division I, more fans than Division II, and more upsets than March Madness. There's nearly 850 programs with over 11,000 games leading to 2 national championships. And we've been covering it all for over 2 decades. From Eastern to Occidental, from Puget Sound to Piedmont, from Southwestern to the University of New England, and from Hope to Calvin. Nobody covers Division III basketball like we do. We're D3Hoops.com at www.d3hoops.com.
The National Association of Basketball Coaches is the nation's premier professional development and advocacy organization for basketball coaches at every level. The NABC strives to serve as the voice for coaches on national issues while advancing the core value of leadership, service, advocacy, education, and inclusion. To learn more about the NABC and to become a member, visit NABC.com and follow the NABC on social media at NABC1927. That's NABC.com or NABC1927 on social media.
Responsibility is being accountable for your words and actions, first and foremost. It also is an obligation to be a positive influence in the communities around you. Being in a D3 program, you're going to have lots of different opportunities. You're not just an athlete, you're also involved in student life. Your academics are extremely important. We give a lot of our student athletes responsibilities right from the start by giving them leadership opportunities, by having them engage in the community, be a positive influence. That's being a responsible person.
There are over 480,000 college athletes. Only 2% would go pro. That means over 470,000 will not get a shoe contract. No autographs. No private jets. No fan clubs. No Hall of Fame inductions. Instead, they will walk away with something much more valuable.
I did receive a non-athletic scholarship upon entering school.
I got the presidential scholarship, which was huge for me.
I think there's more opportunities for academic scholarships in Division III.
I did receive academic scholarships. Just being involved on campus, being a leader, all those things combined kind of get me recognized. It's a great experience for me.
Welcome back to Hoopsville, everybody, as we continue to roll along from the WBCA studios. Yes, I'm wearing a Hood jersey. If you want to know how you can send us a jersey, swag for our shelves, something for me to wear, it doesn't have to be a jersey. This doesn't just happen to fit. Email us, hoopsville@d3sports.com. We'll get you all the details you want, hoopsville@d3sports.com. And if you look around, especially fans of Division III, you might see some interesting nuggets in our backdrop. We're pivoting now from New York to Minnesota. We can't wait to talk about this one. MIAC is always a battleground this time of year. St. Mary's right back in the thick of it. They are having a banger of a season, including the current winning streak. Cardinals are looking to play spoiler and continue in the Minnesota landscape. Joining us to break the squad's evolution down is Courtney Shelton, the head coach of the St. Mary's, Minnesota women's basketball team. I have to be careful because there's no St. Mary's of Maryland. Not that that doesn't get any more confusing than it needs to be. But Courtney, welcome to the show. We're going to get to your last game here in a minute because the stat is wild. But how are you? How's the season gone, etc.?
Doing well, Dave. I appreciate you having me. And again, I'm going to apologize up front about the hoarse voice I got here going on. We were just talking about it, but I hope that this voice stays for a couple more weeks. I wouldn't be mad if I still don't have a voice, because that means we're still playing basketball. So things are going well. We're here in Moorhead today and getting ready to play Concordia this evening. So you got me in a hotel room. We're getting ready to go to shoot around here in about an hour, but no, I appreciate you having me. Season's been going great for us this year. You know, a lot of really good wins for us, and you know what, I'm excited about what's to come tonight, and you know, we're looking forward to a great matchup against Concordia.
Yeah, this is the segment brought to you by horse racing, I guess, because we're both kind of beat up on the voice. Let's talk about the last game because this is wild. So first off, you and Hamline. Jeez, I always say it wrong.
Hamline.
Yeah, Hamline. I always overthink it and call it Hamline. I don't know why. Maybe because there's a lot of D3s that you have to overthink how you say their names. You two kind of got locked in this tie, essentially, for that spot. Had to come down to the tiebreakers. You end up getting the opportunity to host them at home, not despite a 2-game losing streak, but you were entering with a 2-game losing streak. They were kind of the team on fire, kind of merging into the conference as well as you. So a big tilt here in the conference tournament. I don't think I've seen a box score that, when it's two very competitive teams, has ever had a 0 in a quarter, let alone the fourth. The fourth quarter reads 27-0 St. Mary's as you rolled to a win. What in the world happened in the fourth?
You know what, Dave? It's a wild stat, and I don't think I've been around anything like it in my time coaching. You see it sometimes in certain quarters, but to end a game on a 27-0 run, you just got to give all the credit to our players. You got to give credit to the student body and the fans that were in that arena that were just giving off so much energy. But you got to think that our team is just resilient, man. They've got a lot of fight in them. And I'll tell you what, we were down 18 at half, and we go into half and we talked about, trying to break up the game into smaller segments and winning those segments going into the second half. And you got to give Hamlin so much credit of how they played. They come out in the third quarter and they go 6 for 7 from 3. You just felt like they couldn't miss. And they're just a tough team to play against. They turn teams over about 23 times a game. So we know there was going to be some of that kind of ugly basketball at times. But I'll tell you what, going into the fourth quarter, I could hear our kids on the bench just talking to each other, saying, you know what, we're good. We're all right. We got this. And there's got to be some sort of belief when you're down 20 going into a fourth quarter, thinking you can still win that game. And again, I give our team a ton of credit just for their mentality. And we've had a lot of games this season, Dave, that have been we've had to come back from being down. We've been up. We've had a double overtime win. And I think that helps the cause when you have some of that experience throughout the regular season. But again, all the credit in the world to our team of just believing that they can do it. And we picked up the defensive intensity. The crowd started getting into it. We started knocking down shots. And then players just started making plays. And what an unbelievable atmosphere we had. And I'm just happy for our players to be able to get that experience. And the floor got stormed at the end of the game, but it was awesome. It was awesome to be a part of, a lot of fun, which is great. And I think two things can be true. You can really acknowledge what you just did there on Tuesday night, but now we got to take care of business tonight on Thursday as well.
It was 52-32 at the end of the third. You were on a little bit of a mini run, and not really. It was kind of closed out, trading baskets to end that quarter. You hold them to a 10-minute scoreless streak, 0 for 10 in that stretch. They finished the quarter 0 for 10, 0 for 2 from deep, never hit the free throw line. 8 personal fouls, 8 turnovers in that stretch. They were 1 for their last 13 in totality. You went on a 31-6 run in totality, and you were 5 of your last 6 to finish the game. That's listen, start of the game, I get it. I've seen stranger things. Team plays Bryn Mawr, then Bryn Mawr is much better. A team plays somebody who's just Trinity DC, right? We see this against haphazard Division III squads. Not when it's a conference tournament game against a team that's arguably equal. You talk about the mentality, you talk about the crowd, you talk about all of that. But at what point did it click to you of what was really going on?
I'm going to be completely honest, Dave. I don't think I even realized that we held them scoreless in the fourth until the game was done. You're so in it, and you're thinking about things with your team and what you need to do. And I don't even think I realized it till the very end of the game. But you know what? We had a senior, Lindsay Lettner, who hit a 3 with about 1:40 left, which put us up by 1 point. And that was probably the point where I'm like, we got this. Let's just finish this out. And the crowd,
that was the last made field goal for the game, by the way.
I know. Unbelievable. So, again, a lot of factors that go into that. Our defense turning them over. They couldn't get into their press based on the fact that we were getting live ball turnovers that we were able to capitalize on the other end. But again, I'm going to give Hamlin so much credit because they're just a tough team. They're a tough team to play. They play a certain style. But we talked a lot this week about, poise. Poise was our word of having poise versus that team. But again, I go back to just the mindset of our players of just having belief, being down 20 points with 10 minutes to go in a game and still believing that you can go out and win that game. So a testament to them and what they've gone through this year so far.
Just to put a bow on this, it was 15-9 in each of the first 2 quarters, Hamlin. It was 22-14 in the third quarter. Again, you put up 32 points in totality in 3 quarters and then put up 27 points in the fourth quarter alone, going 8 of 11 from the floor, 3 for 5 from deep, 8 of 11 from the free throw line. You had one lead the entire game, and it was that made three-pointer, and then you held on to the end. Like, just mind-blowing how that game finished. Obviously, it pivots now, right? You got to get ready for Concordia Moorhead. This conference has been, no disrespect, has felt a little down in some facets, but the top has been fascinating to watch. Concordia, Bethel, Gustavus, yourselves, Hamlin, St. Benedict has had a good season. St. Scholastica has had a decent season. So it feels like it's down only in the sense that nobody has emerged as a dominant team, but it's uber competitive. You go in against this Concordia Moorhead team, a team that you've seen this season, lost by 12-2. What do you think of the matchup?
I apologize to interrupt you. We beat them.
I'm sorry, beat them. Yes, I misspoke. Yep, beat them by 12.
Yep.
I'm looking right at it. You would think a W would translate to a win, but in my head, it didn't. Well, it was also coming off of a loss to Bethel. So you had an interesting dual game there. You went Bethel Concordia, split it, losing to Bethel by just one. So you guys were on the edge of really being in a different situation here. How do you attack this Concordia Moorhead game, knowing you had the 12-point win, but also knowing that was earliest January?
Yeah, no doubt. And I think that's the fun part about February basketball is, you're maybe playing a team again, and we played this team back in January at home. And I'm going to give a lot of credit to Kim too with what she's done with Concordia this year. And they're a really good team. They've got some really good players, and they know their roles. They play really well together. They play well at home. But you know what? We should have a lot of confidence going into this game. We've been able to beat them at home once. I thought that was one of the best games that we've had defensively, executing a game plan of what we wanted to do and the style of play that we wanted to have at our home. But now it's about going on the road, and you got to go take care of business. And our mindset this year, Dave, has just been the next game on the schedule is the biggest one. It is the biggest one because it's the next one. And we don't need to make it any bigger than that. I understand the implications. Our players do too. But at the end of the day, Concordia is the biggest game we are going to play because it's the next one on the schedule. And if we stay in the present, we stay where our feet are, we'll be just fine. I know when we play really good basketball, we're a darn good team. It's fun. It's fun to watch us. Now it's about going out and being able to execute, but it's gonna be a battle tonight. There's really good post play on the floor tonight. They've got some guards that can stretch the floor, knock it down. They've been shooting better as of late. I mean, you got McHugh that's been averaging about 20, 21 points a game over the last 5. They're shooting the 3 ball better than the first time we played them. So, we're talking through what we want to look at as a game plan for tonight, and it's about being able to go out and execute and still just be in the moment and have some fun with it. We're a young team, Dave. We got one senior, we got one junior. The rest are freshmen and sophomores. And sometimes I got to remember that. Sometimes I got to, they give me gray hairs all the time. But you know what? You need to have some of this experience, and that's why we're lucky to have these games that we've had all season long against the Bethels, against the Gustavus, against the Concordias, to prepare us for postseason play like we're playing right now.
Talk to me a little bit about those freshmen, as it were. Your starters, you've got the Olsen sisters, which is just fun to see. Ayala, though, as a freshman, has emerged as the team's best scorer. Puts up 15.5 points a game, pulls down 8 boards per game, shoots 53% from the floor. Not a bad three-point shooter either, good free throw shooter, etc. Of course, you have Kaylee as the junior, right? Like, you guys got used to the 6-foot forward. Now you got her 5'11" sister here. How does that dynamic play, and how quickly has Ayala gotten into this system as a freshman?
Yeah, well, I'm gonna preface by saying this, Dave. Well, Callie and Ayla both have a sister connection. You can tell when they play on the floor, but they're also both dual sport athletes. They're both volleyball players. And I absolutely love that you get that at this D3 level. The one thing that, always hurts you is you don't get them in the fall. They're in their season in volleyball. And Callie obviously had a taste of it because last year was year 1 for me as the head coach here at St. Mary's. So she knew what the culture was like. She knew what the practices were going to be like. Ayla had no idea. So Ayla comes in right after volleyball season and hits the ground running. And I'm going to give her a lot of credit for just being able to be adaptable and jump into it and just learn quickly. And all of our freshmen did. But you know what? For her to be able to jump into our system, learn it quickly, she's been an unbelievably consistent player for us this year. You know what you're going to get from Ayla. She's dominant on the boards. She's been a go-to for us this year offensively. Absolutely love the fact that those two have a connection on the floor, and so it's been fun to watch. So again, a really nice piece to our team with those two, and again, a lot of sophomore, a lot of freshman players that are giving us great production this year.
You always wonder if Gustavus got the sisters confused, because in the Hamlin game that you guys lost, Callie put up 25, which was a season high. The next game against Gustavus, again, unfortunately, a loss. Ayla puts up a career high 32. Now, she had 25 against Hamlin, too, which is rather interesting. That dynamic's fascinating to play. But then you look at this next Hamlin game, she puts up 10, and Callie puts up 11. So you now turn and go, well, where did the scoring come from? And that's where the next element of this is, right? You've got the Brianna Nussbaum. You've got Riley Sternquist. You've got these other options, as you said, very young team. How has that evolved?
Yeah, I mean, I think, again, a lot of the sophomores that we have this year in Brie Nussbaum and Riley Sternquist, you know, they had a taste of it last year. They had a taste of it as freshmen of what it looks like. And again, I think experience goes such a long way, Dave. And that's why you see, especially last year with it was the last year of those fifth-year seniors for a lot of those teams. Those teams found a lot of success because you build chemistry, you know how to play well together. So at least giving us that year under our belts with some of those freshmen that played quite a bit last year, coming into this year, understanding what the expectation is, understanding the standard of the style of play that we have here, it goes a long way, you know. So I keep saying here, I'm like, man, we're young, and sometimes it does give me gray hair, but then at the same time, we have some freshmen that had experience last year that get to bring that into their sophomore year. So I think we're in a dynamic team. You've had different people step up in different moments. And that's the best part about our group is, you know, you can find some people that come in and give you great production, and it doesn't just need to be one person or two people. We're dynamic, and it's tough to guard.
Not that I want to look too far ahead, but Lindsay Lettner is your senior, and no disrespect to a player who's got 6 points a game, shoots 37% from the floor, 35% from deep, pulls in a rebound and a half, and is third in the team in assists. But Ayla Olsen is the team leader in assists. Nussbaum is second. Sternquist isn't contributing there as well. Actually, Kaylee Olsen's number one in assists. I apologize. Oh, no, I'm looking at that right. Yeah.
Ayla,
Personal foul, assist, turnovers. They keep moving around on me. Ayla Olsen is also the leader in steals, i.e., you're going to lose the leadership in Lindsay. You're going to lose someone who has been there to help this program get to where it is, considering last year was 13-12, year before was 2-22, year before that was 9-16. You lose that. But wow, do you have a core who is building off of whatever happens this year into next year? That's got to be an amazing feeling.
No doubt. No doubt. I mean, you don't want to look ahead too much into the future, but what we're building here is special. And the fact that we are young and finding success right now in our league and, you know, in these short 2 years since I've been here, being able to start building a culture here that we're really proud of, that we get to go showcase. It's exciting. It's exciting. And again, yeah, Lindsay's going to be, you know, a tough loss with her leadership, and she's been able to grow that over these last 2 years that I've been able to coach her. But you know what? It's exciting about the future of our program and where we can be and what we can do. And I can't wait for it. But you know what? Right now we're in the present moment. Right now we're focused on tonight's game, and it's about finding a way and continuing to keep this rolling.
Coach, don't ruin my tangent here. I want to talk about what I'm kidding. Totally kidding.
We can keep it going as much as you want, Dave.
No, I hear you. Second season, we should point out, as head coach here, you played collegiately at Northern Illinois. You've coached at UW-Milwaukee, the lesser of the UWs, we all know, and Central Michigan, where you got to actually the Sweet 16. I'm curious what attracted you. let me phrase that. I know a lot of D1 assistant coaches are attracted to D3 head coaching jobs because it gives them that opportunity to get that head coaching opportunity, right? Get those reps in, get that experience so that they can go for wherever they want their careers to go. I'm curious, what attracted you to this job, considering those stats I had just mentioned, and especially a 2-22 year? What attracts you to the job? What are you bringing to the job that has had such a huge impact, obviously on the floor, but in recruiting as well?
Yeah, no, it's a great question, Dave. And I've been able to coach under a lot of really great coaches. You know, Sue Guevara at Central Michigan, who's a Hall of Fame coach. Heather Osterly took over. She's now at Stanford. I played under Carol Owens, who's at Notre Dame, and Kathy Bennett, who's, you know, the daughter of Dick Bennett, and just being around some unbelievable coaches and mentors who have, you know, I think Mo just said it in his previous one, who's thrown me into the fire and allowed me to learn in a specific way. I've been in all three levels at this point. You know, I started my coaching out at a D2 school, Northwood University, with Jeff Curtis there, and you wear so many different hats and you learn so much and you learn so many different styles. And it's been awesome because it's allowed me to learn different ways. But St. Mary's, it was a colleague of mine, a coaching colleague who had reached out about the position. I was interested in it because I felt like it was the time for me to go off and be a head coach and go build something the way that I wanted it to look like. And so I ended up taking an interview here, and, you know, I'm all about people. And I think if you do this job, you understand that teams are built on people. Recruiting is built with people, and you want to be around really good people. And St. Mary's has that. St. Mary's is an unbelievable place, unbelievable people there, unbelievable support. And I understood what I was coming into as well, but I also saw that as a positive. Understanding taking over a team that had 2 wins the year prior, that means you get to build it. And you get just put down a whole new foundation. You get to put in the culture down that you want to put down. And so I was excited about that opportunity. And to be able to come in, we've got a great group and we've got the right people in the locker room. They have bought into this program and this culture and this standard so much. And then I'm just going to plug my assistants as well. Alexis Folia this year has been awesome for us. Unbelievable assistant. She was at UW Stout for a long time. You know, Mac Whaley has helped us out this year as well. So it's about the people, and you want to make sure that our players are around good people and they see what it should look like. So yeah, there's a lot to be attracted about with St. Mary's, but now the fun part is we're in it. We're in the building aspect of it, and I'm excited that it's happening pretty quickly, but it's because we got the right people involved.
Well, I appreciate the time. Like I said, you got Concordia tonight on the road. Thank you again for finding time to join us to talk about it. Good luck in that game. Good luck on what next year brings, excuse me, with what is a dynamite group, obviously. We'll look forward to probably getting you back on to talk about this Cardinals group and those sisters alone. But in the meantime, we always give our guests the final word. Any final thoughts you want to share with those who may be tuned in?
You know what, Dave? Thanks for watching. You know, and I would just say to everyone, you know, come out and take a peek at St. Mary's. We're doing some really good stuff, and our players deserve some of that spotlight. They've been crushing it. The MIAC is a great league, so continue to watch. But again, I'll echo what Mo did previously. You're doing a great job of advocating for D3 basketball, and it's fun to be a part of. So I appreciate you having me today. Hopefully we can go out and get a win tonight at Concordia.
Yeah, thanks, Courtney. Good luck on holding them to 0 points in a 10-minute span. I'm not sure you're going to be able to do that, but
we'll try our best.
I am looking forward to watching. Take care of yourself. We'll look forward to catching up at it sometime down the road as well.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Courtney Shelton joining us here on the Hoopsville Hotline. Again, this is a coach in her second year, took a 2-22 program, immediately made an impact at 13-12, went from 0-20 in conference to 11-7 in conference, and now this year 13-5 in a tough MIAC. That's an impressive job. Note, if you're wondering about their at-large chances, let's just say they got to get to the finals. They get to the finals and they're probably secure about getting in the tournament, but they've got to get past Concordia Moorhead tonight to make that happen. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll head from Minnesota to another state with a lot of lakes. We'll head to Maine, talk to the Bowdoin Polar Bears about their women's program. You're listening to Hoopsville, presented by D3 Hoops from the WBCA studios.
It's on us to stop sexual assault.
In any way that we can.
To get a friend home safe.
To never blame the victim.
It's on us.
To stand up.
To make our community safe for all. It's on us.
It's on us to look out for each other at parties.
It's on us.
To be more than just a bystander.
To step up and say something.
It's on us. All of us.
To stop sexual assault. Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
We've got more schools than Division I, more fans than Division II, and more upsets than March Madness. There's nearly 850 programs with over 11,000 games leading to 2 national championships. And we've been covering it all for over 2 decades. From Eastern to Occidental, from Puget Sound to Piedmont, from Southwestern to the University of New England, and from Hope to Calvin. Nobody covers Division III basketball like we do. We're D3Hoops.com at www.d3hoops.com.
Comprehensive learning is being able to adapt to experiences and apply the things that I learned. Being an athlete and juggling academics helped me grow as a person, and things that I've learned, I was able to apply it in another field, putting them into everyday life. Developing comprehensive learning helped me prioritize certain things to make sure I get to where I want to be.
For the love of the game. But for those of us who are Division III student athletes, it's more than that, a lot more.
Sure, the game is important, but as we work so hard to build both mind and body, it's more about team.
That is why NCAA Division III teamed up with Special Olympics, and in giving the gift of sport to those for whom it seemed an impossible dream, we are working to make this a better world.
Help us keep that dream alive.
You can make a difference.
We are the coaches of women's basketball. We are leaders and teachers, dreamers and winners. We are professionals who conduct ourselves ethically and with integrity. We place the education, safety, and well-being of the athletes we coach above all else, and teach them the fundamental values they need to succeed in life. We are coaches united for the good of our game and those who play it. We are the WBCA.
I learned a lot of valuable lessons playing college football. I never thought about the health benefits of exercise until I actually started to talk to coaches in college. It's not only just for performance, it's for life. My coaches instilled the importance of well-being, not only building up strength, mental health, getting enough sleep, eating properly is all what it is to be healthy. I decided that I want to go into personal trainer and share my knowledge that I obtained in college about physical and mental well-being.
We are calling you, all of you. We are calling all Division III schools to join our cause.
It's on us to start the change. It's on us to be the change. It's on us. It's on Division III. It's on all of us to stop sexual assault.
It's on us to stop sexual assault.
In any way that we can.
To get a friend home safe.
To never blame the victim.
It's on us.
To stand up.
To make our community safe for all. It's on us.
It's on us to look out for each other at parties.
It's on us.
To be more than just a bystander.
To step up and say something.
It's on us. All of us.
To stop sexual assault. Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
We've got more schools than Division I, more fans than Division II, and more upsets than March Madness. There's nearly 850 programs with over 11,000 games leading to 2 national championships. And we've been covering it all for over 2 decades. From Eastern to Occidental, from Puget Sound to Piedmont, from Southwestern to the University of New England, and from Hope to Calvin. Nobody covers Division III basketball like we do. We're D3Hoops.com at www.d3hoops.com.
Comprehensive learning is being able to adapt to experiences and apply the things that I learned. Being an athlete and juggling academics helped me grow as a person, and things that I've learned, I was able to apply it in another field, putting them into everyday life. Developing comprehensive learning helped me prioritize certain things to make sure I get to where I want to be.
For the love of the game. But for those of us who are Division III student athletes, it's more than that, a lot more.
Sure. Cutting the ad break off. I've been going too long. How are you folks? I'm welcome back. It's Dave here at the Hoopsville Studios, thanks to the WBCA and D3Hoops.com. If you got questions for us, email us, hoopsville at D3Sports.com. Join us on Twitter at D3Hoopsville. Dice Canton has been on the live stream. Appreciate it, Dice. He mentions this is kind of relevant because Mother Nature's thrown a whole mess of a monkey wrench into New England. Places like Rhode Island got 3+ feet of snow. We got 6 inches, with most of it disappeared by the end of the day. Thanks a lot, Mother Nature. If you want to dump on a place, dump on me and make everybody in my life miserable while I enjoy it. But go ahead, go up to New England. Fine. Treat the New England people to a blizzard. We'll take a moment to recognize that there was a tragedy at Salve Regina. A student athlete did die, apparently charging his cell phone in his car, but the exhaust pipe was wedged into a snowbank, I would assume. Died of carbon monoxide. So our thoughts and prayers to Salve Regina. Of course, comes on a week or so after Johnson and Wales had to go through a tragedy at the rink they use for ice hockey. It's just been a tough couple of weeks in Rhode Island, so our thoughts and prayers up there. But let's pivot back to the point. Little East tournament. Believe it or not, Southern Maine women are scheduled to play their semifinals tomorrow evening. Their opponent is playing tonight. Hopefully, UMass Boston is going to be able to play that game against UMass Dartmouth. Another two schools square in that target zone of the storm. That game has been pushed, I think, twice already. We'll see what happens next. But speaking of New England, the 8th-ranked Polar Bears are the force to be reckoned with, thanks to my new little script in the NESCAC. Fresh off a 73-56 quarterfinal win over Tufts, they're now 23-1, top seed for the 3rd straight year, and believe it or not, first team to go undefeated in back-to-back NESCAC seasons in nearly a decade. What is going on with the Polar Bears? Talk about their quest for another conference title. We head to the Hoopsville Hotline. Megan Phelps, the head coach, and sophomore guard Grace Kinham joins us on the show. Guys, welcome to the show. Thank you. Are you done digging out?
Honestly, I feel like we were on the other half of kind of getting clipped by this storm. I feel like it was windy, but mostly 6 inches, and it just added to the feet of snow that are still on the ground.
I was going to say, you guys have been nonstop, though. I should point out this storm was just icing on the cake at this point. I've noticed that. Grace, is this what you signed up with when you said I'd come to play at Bowdoin?
It's a little worse than I expected, but I'm getting used to it. It's been great.
At least you're honest about it. I appreciate that for sure.
If you had been home in Jersey, you might have got more snow.
Yeah, there's been more snow at home than here, so
that's
I'm
a great
grateful.
point. You're from Jersey, yeah, and they don't handle it as well as Mainers do.
No.
No.
My sister's had like a whole week off of school, and I have not had one class canceled. So.
No. Maine looks at it and goes, well, we got the plow through once. You should be fine at the very least. And if you have to walk,
yes,
snowmobile, snowshoe, cross-country ski, you got options.
Yeah.
By the way, side note to anybody who doesn't know, there's more snowmobile miles of trails than there are roads in Maine. Just in case anybody was curious about the standards of living in the state of Maine. Yeah, I'm full of this.
Best state in the world, you know?
I know. I'm full of this nonstop BS. Hey, so here we go. 23-1, coach. Again, got the win over Tufts 73-56. You had played them back in the early January, got the win as well at their place 76-60. Your lone loss this year is this head scratcher of a game against Calvin back at the end of December. I'll get to that in a minute. I did notice you just had a game against Maine Presque Isle that you never made up, and I think that's the most important part of this interview. You didn't play Maine Presque Isle this season. Coach, what is going wrong?
It ends up, I feel like, all the snow, like that was really what happened. We had to reschedule and we kept trying to find a date, and then we kept having other games rescheduled, and it ended up just kind of being a scratch that we kind of decided we'll pick it up again next year.
Yeah.
But we've rescheduled a lot of games this year, more than we have the entire time I've been at Bowdoin, I feel like.
Yeah, it's been a little wild. I'll admit, it's been a little wild this year. I mean, winter and Mother Nature really came back kind of up there to the standards of what I was used to when I lived up there. It had gotten such to the warmer level, and now you're kind of snapped back. How tough is that, Grace, from your perspective, where your schedule is maybe more in flux than it normally would be, especially compared to last year?
I think our team's really great about rolling with the punches. I think we take everything day by day. So practice gets moved, a game gets moved. I think it doesn't really affect us because we're just like going with it as it comes.
You guys had a great trio of games, Megan, beginning of December, the main grouping of Bates, Colby, and yourselves. And you had most of us tuned into all three of those battles that week. It was fascinating. You had a hell of a game at Bates and went double OT. I would argue you survived 77-70 before then taking on a Colby game in a very different style, winning 53-42. I felt like that may have helped set the tempo and the temperature for the season, but from our perspective, I left a little bit more confused from it because I wasn't sure what to make of it. Like, Colby, okay, maybe can't compete. Bates certainly can, but Bates struggled against Colby. Like, what was that helpful, that point of the season? Did it give you guys answers? Because from there on, other than the Calvin game, you have been rolling.
I think, we kind of go into every game against Bates and Colby knowing that you watch film, you study personnel, and then you step foot on the court, and a rivalry game is just different. So I feel like that game at Bates is one of the most fun that I've been a part of. I mean, I think that's why you play. I think it was this beginning of the second overtime. We were in the Hudl being like, this is just so fun. Like, what a cool opportunity we have. And so I think those are enjoyable moments, but I think we tried not to like read too much into any game. Like, I think it's always a really good test for us, right at the end of the first semester, play a couple NESCAC teams who know us better than any NESCAC team probably, and kind of take stock. I feel like we learn a lot from those games regardless of what happens. And, it just came with maybe a little more excitement this year than it does sometimes.
Grace, it feels like this has been a little off the radar, to be completely honest, and we'll get to the Calvin game. But, I mean, you were 29-1 last year. 23-1's not that uncommon in your book. I mean, this is what your standard is. What's the season been like in comparison to last year?
I think there's been some differences we lost a really great senior class, but I think this year we've really, we have a lot of depth on this team and everyone shares equal responsibility. And so I feel like there's so much trust in each other that we don't need to, no one person has to do everything to win a game. So I think that's the best part of this team. And I think we just have really high standards. It came from last year, again, like that great season, and we wanted to like continue with that trend this year.
Let me talk about this Calvin game because it fascinates me. You played Vassar the night before, beat them 64-44. This game is at Morrill Gymnasium, one of the rare gymnasiums in Maine not named after Alphonse. And then you take on Calvin the next night, and you lose 61-51. They shot 37% from the floor, 4 for 16 from deep. You all shot 29%, 2 of 24 from deep. Is it that simple? Is that our reason? Like, what happened? Because, man, did it give us false impression of who Calvin was? But I also think it gave false impression of what you guys were.
Yeah, I don't know if I would say false impression so much. I think Mark has a really great club at Calvin. I mean, obviously they had a ton of success last year, and I think they had a pretty significant injury like right after we played each other. And everybody knows like that can really change the way your team looks and plays. But I felt like it's always exciting when we can get teams to come up to Morrill that we don't see. I don't know if we'd ever even played Calvin before. And I knew that they were going to be a really good challenge for us. And so, yeah, I I don't think we shot the ball as well as we could have. Like, I think that's a credit to Calvin's defense. And I also think, you know, as Grace alluded to, we lost a lot of playing time last year, a lot of experience. And I think playing back to back and like having to go play 2 NCAA tournament teams in Vassar and Calvin. And I feel like that taught us a lot about ourselves. And like, you know, we had to learn what it was like to need to show up with a different game plan every day and be ready to execute. So I think I was really happy that Mark brought his club out because I think it was a fun game. I think we both probably felt like our teams could have done a lot of things better, but I think it made both of us better in the end.
Grace, let me talk about kind of the evolution of your game. Last year, played 30 games, no starts, averaged 8 points, 4.5 rebounds-ish, about just under 2 assists per game, shot 46%, 38 from deep, etc. Then you pivot to this year. You've started 22 of 24. You're scoring 13.5, an increase of 5+ points. You're now averaging more like 6.5 rebounds. Your assists have skyrocketed to 4.5 a game. You're shooting better at 48%, though not from deep. What was the evolution? What changed between your freshman and sophomore years that allowed you to kind of blossom into this player that coach now has as an option, and more importantly, allows the team to develop as well?
Yeah, I think freshman year, I stepped into a really successful team. So I think finding my role as someone like defensively, things like that, doing what I could to just help the team win. And then this year with, again, graduating that class, finding more room for me to like find my place offensively and defensively. And I think we've created a culture of like hard work on our team. So like last year after the season ended, we were all getting in the gym, working out together, things like that. And then over the summer, so just continuing to really work on my game to make sure that we could have an equally as successful season this year.
Megan, talk about the dynamics of her and then junior Abby Quinn, the junior from Bangor. That dynamic, obviously you have a senior in Carly Davey as well, who's in double figures, but it's Quinn and Kinham who are kind of leading the charge at this point. What's that dynamic like of underclassmen?
It makes my life pretty easy, right? No, I think Grace and Abby have done such a great job. We have 5 seniors on our team this year, and I think one of their greatest strengths is the ability to like really leave space for other voices. They're a great group. The first group that I've coached, you know, I had them as freshmen my first year, and I think that they really from the get-go like wanted to empower younger players on the team to like have space to lead. And I think both Grace and Abby are a little bit on the quieter side. I think if you watch us play, like they're both pretty steady, not a lot rattles them. And so I think both of them have really stepped up vocally and stepped into a little bit more of like, you know, an accountability role. Like they come every day to practice, ready to compete and to work. And I think learning how to then like help hold your teammates to that high standard has been something we've talked a lot about. But I think you couldn't find 2 more unselfish people on the planet. Like they really could care less about their own stats, and they both kind of have the type of game where I could leave feeling like, wow, you know, Grace just did not have it today. And you look at the box score and she's almost got a triple double, you know. Abby's the same way. So I think they bring a ton of consistency like in leadership, but also just in the way they play. And as a coach, that's such a nice thing to have people you can rely on like that. Makes my life easier for sure.
Grace, let me flip it to you. You've got a number of seniors on this squad that have been contributors. Carly Davies been banged up, but she's, 10 points a game. You got Maria Bellardi, who's certainly been a key cog to this unit. Rachel Story has played a role. Maddie Wilkin is in almost every game. Starlet Franklin has been important. So you as a sophomore growing into your role, you're one of the top 2 scorers. You're obviously a threat on the floor, but you've got 5 seniors who are kind of setting the standard still of what Polar Bear basketball is. Can you talk about those seniors?
Yeah, it's like the most amazing senior class. Like even thinking about them leaving is like, I can't even think about it actually. And I think they lead in such different ways as well. They all have different roles on our team. And so you can go to any of them for any of your like problems or advice or anything like that. And that's super helpful. And in practice, the energy that they bring every single day is like what lifts our team to the next level. And that really translates into games. And so they are like a huge, huge part of the success of our program.
Meg, how do you keep this team kind of itching to go? Like we talked to NYU and Meg Barber there, and she talks, obviously the win streak there is enough of a catalyst, I could argue. You all have been pretty consistent, as we mentioned. One loss this year, one loss last year, 28-3 the year before that. Back-to-back undefeated seasons, which hasn't happened in a long time in the NESCAC. How do you keep everybody hungry?
Yeah, I think, well, I probably have an easier job than Meg, the Meg at NYU does. I feel like what she's done is really incredible to like keep the edge that NYU has. But I mean, I think for us, like we're happy competing for championships and that's all great. But at the end of the day, like, it's been a while since Bowdoin's been to a Final Four. And I think our program has the type of expectations, the history of success that means, we kind of go into every season wanting to be in the Final Four, wanting to compete for a national championship. And I think we're really lucky to play in the conference that we do, that the grind of the NESCAC prepares us really well for playoff basketball. So I think it feels a little like a cop-out, but I don't know that I have to do anything particularly special to keep the group that I have like ready to work. I think that's something that we really pride ourselves on. And I think if anything, like staying focused on the process and trying to like not pay attention to the outside noise of like what people think, whether we're winning or whether we're losing, and just kind of focusing on every team as its own entity and every person kind of having their own journey over their 4 years. That focus on just continuing to grow and trying to like reach everyone's highest potential as a vehicle to like allow our team to do the same. I think that's been the biggest contributor to just like keeping an edge, like not making it about wins and losses as much as just like if we can all try to get better every day, well, the wins will come.
Fair. This is about D3, right? It's all about the student athlete, which we all know very well. We nearly got Grace sliding into this interview today, coming straight from an exam, which is, as Meg and I were talking, the true YD3 thing. Grace, I can't do it justice. So can you let everybody know what your major was? And I'm also curious, what exam did you just come from?
Yeah, I'm an econ and digital and computational studies dual major, and I just came from a micro exam that I'm not sure how it went, but we'll see.
Microeconomics?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what dragged me into the major I got. I was fascinated with microeconomics. I should have just left. I should never have done it.
Yeah.
I thought microeconomics was so fun. Then I got into macro and went, oh, what am I doing? And then I was too stubborn to switch. Grace, that's fascinating. You don't know how you did, though?
No, we'll see.
Grace
see.
is probably
whatever.
She's probably being a little, a little humble right now. She does okay in the classroom.
I was going to say, there's no way she's at Bowdoin and a women's basketball player in general, because this is what I know the history of, and she isn't doing well.
True.
I'm quite positive. By the way, quick note, we talked about the weather earlier. I noticed Jamie Yu and Catherine Garr, both California natives of Pasadena and Palo Alto, are probably looking at all of you going, what is this stuff? And why is it still here?
I think Jamie Yu and Catherine Garr were meant to be in Maine because they are both living I think they're the most excited about the snow.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is amazing.
I was there for Jamie's first experience of snow falling, and it was like the coolest thing she's ever seen in the whole world. So,
tell me someone shot video of this. Grace, you all are smartphone phenoms. Like, how do you not Anyway, that's impressive. I quickly ahead, obviously conference tournament. Williams is ahead. Nothing against Williams. They didn't have a season that stood out, but geez, you cannot overlook a Pat Manning squad. No. And obviously you'd want to lock into this tournament to get a hosting opportunity, continue to send everybody to Maine and give them all the best seafood in the world before you beat the snot out of them in the opening 2 rounds. What do you expect from Williams? What are you expecting from the tournament ahead?
Yeah, I think Williams is playing really great basketball. And as you said, I mean, Pat is one of the best to do it. So I think we're prepared for, a battle on Saturday. And I think this time of year, it's always a balance between, we've played everybody in the NESCAC. We know each other a little bit, but preparing for the team you're going to play and also focusing on ourselves and like what's gotten us to this point. I think we talk a lot about the playoffs kind of resetting us. We're 0-0. We're 1-0 as of last weekend now, but that doesn't mean the experience of the 23 games before that disappears. So just trying to continue to build on the lessons that we've learned throughout the course of the season. And then just having the understanding that anybody can beat anybody in the NESCAC. So going in ready for a battle on Saturday.
Well, Williams beat Amherst and Trinity in their last two games that they lost earlier in the season. So that tells you enough, to say the least. I got to let you go because I'm way late. Thank you for your time. Grace, thanks for running over from your exam. I appreciate it very much. We have a tradition on the show that Meg knows well, so we'll probably let her go first before we throw Grace in the fire. But tradition that we always give the guests the final word. Any final thoughts you want to share with those tuned in?
No, just thank you so much for having us. Shout out to, I see your next guest, Chris Klimchak. We were Regis grad assistants together back in the day.
Oh, wow.
So when he popped on screen, I was like, let's go. This is awesome.
That's awesome.
So thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Grace?
Yeah, thanks for having us. It's the best part of the season, so excited to see what happens next.
I'm clipping that, folks, as the best part of the season was coming on this show, just in case anybody's wondering. That's how I'm clipping it.
Next 2 years.
Yep, that's how I'm teasing the heck out of this. That's how I'm doing it. Hey, thanks for the time, ladies. Good luck. Enjoy the snow for me, and we'll talk soon.
Yeah, appreciate you.
Bye. Thank you.
Grace and Megan joining us here on the Hoopsville Hotline. Just noticed our doors open, which means Tucker, the mascot of the show, has entered this studio somewhere. But appreciate Megan and Grace coming on the show. Again, powerful team there, 23-1, kind of sneaky one-loss team. We talk about all the undefeateds. Bowdoin's going to be just as fearsome as ever. We'll take a break. We'll talk to the other Regis grad assistant. Things I don't know about for 100, Alex. Chris Klimchak. Coming up, talking men's basketball at Pitt-Greensburg. You're listening to Hoopsville, presented by D3Hoops.com from the WBCA studio. So much more still ahead.
Coach of the Year, Administrator of the Year, All-America Team, Wade Trophy. The WBCA doesn't just honor coaches, but players, administrators, and much more. The WBCA strives to honor those who have contributed to the advancement of women's basketball. Celebrate the present, honor the past, look to the future.
For the love of the game. But for those of us who are Division III student athletes, it's more than that, a lot more.
Sure, the game is important, but as we work so hard to build both mind and body, it's more about team.
That is why NCAA Division III teamed up with Special Olympics. And in giving the gift of sport to those for whom it seemed an impossible dream, we are working to make this a better world.
Help us keep that dream alive.
You can make a difference.
Something I discovered in myself is that if I have a goal, then I can accomplish it.
It's a well-rounded experience.
At a Division III school, you primarily a student athlete, so the school is really shaped around you developing yourself as a complete individual.
It helps a lot that you have a family with your team that can guide you.
The National Association of Basketball Coaches is the nation's premier professional development and advocacy organization for basketball coaches at every level. The NABC strives to serve as the voice for coaches on national issues while advancing the core value of leadership, service, advocacy, education, and inclusion. To learn more about the NABC and to become a member, visit NABC.com and follow the NABC on social media at NABC 1927. That's NABC.com or NABC 1927 on social media.
I believe sportsmanship is a mutual admiration and respect for your fellow competitors. We all go through a lot to reach the point where we compete against one another. It's important to realize that. So once we're finally on the field or on the court or on the starting block, we look at each other as fellow human beings and not just competitors. Being able to recognize the hard work that other athletes are putting in creates a more positive and inclusive environment.
We've got more schools than Division I, more fans than Division II, and more upsets than March Madness. There's nearly 850 programs with over 11,000 games leading to 2 national championships. And we've been covering it all for over 2 decades. From Eastern to Occidental, from Puget Sound to Piedmont, from Southwestern to the University of New England, and from Hope to Calvin. Nobody covers Division III basketball like we do. We're D3Hoops.com at www.d3hoops.com.
Coach of the Year, Administrator of the Year, All-America Team.
Welcome back to Hoopsville, everybody. God, our ads still roll over. I don't understand it. If you got questions for us, tweet us at D3Hoopsville, hashtag Hoopsville, email us hoopsville at d3sports.com. Join us on our live stream. We've had lots of people interacting with us. We appreciate it. Or you can find us, email, social medias. You know how to get a hold of us. We'll do our best to answer any questions you may have. Still have some news and notes to do at the end of the show. We're pivoting to apparently another Regis grad assistant. Talk about the wildest thing I could not have made up in my life. Bowdoin head coach Megan Phelps and our next guest were both grad assistants at Regis, of all schools. Regis, the pride. I can't make this. It's like the Meg Barber show when apparently I forgot one of our guests had played under Meg in D1 at William and Mary. Like, I don't think of those things. I kid you not. When I'm scheduling guests so far in advance, I'm not thinking about this stuff. It just falls into my lap. And so I will take it and go play the lottery if I have to. Chris Klimchak joining us from Pitt-Greensburg. Apparently, he and Meg, best of buds when they were, thanks to working together at Regis. This is wild.
That's right, Dave. We 2015-16, we were up there together. So to see her face pop up, it was really cool. Obviously, they're having a heck of a year, and again, you're a genius at this stuff, and like you said, it fell into your lap, but I don't know. I think that was a job well done.
Again, I'm going to clip that part where you say I'm a genius. I'm going to roll that thing as hard as I can as a promo the rest of the season. I am so glad I'm recording this Zoom call because I have got content to beat all content this season, and I want to thank you so much for doing that. I'll send you a check. Let's talk about the season. I mean, you're having a tremendous season. There's a lot that goes into it, right? Like, it's not cut and dry. But you guys have had just kind of this coming of age season. Is that a better way of saying it?
Sure, I think so. We started off 11-0, and but it's I think a multitude of reasons. We have 7 seniors on our team that just really play basketball well together. And these guys have been through a lot of wars the first couple years, and they've grown a lot in a lot of different ways. And we've tested ourselves too, non-conference the last few years, especially this year. But it's been a great journey with this group, and again, it's a senior-laden team, and it's a lot of leadership, and just we have a lot of fun with this group. So it's just exciting to be around.
It's interesting because I think it's maybe a couple of games that didn't count that maybe could be playing a role in this a little bit. And correct me if I'm wrong. I could be misreading this, but you had a D1 game against Robert Morris. It was 6 points at halftime. You kind of played tough in that one. Then D2 Seton Hill you played. That game ended up being a little bit more than maybe they had bargained for. The finishes at Robert Morris was 81-57. The finish against Seton Hill was 99-77. maybe those scores betray it. How did you guys take out of that? Because it feels like that's part of this story.
Yeah, I think so, Dave. Yeah, we wanted to test ourselves. We thought that this is a year that, we could challenge ourselves. And yeah, we decided to have 2 exhibitions this year, no scrimmages, and just, talked with Andy Toole and Anthony Richards over there at Robert Morris. And they hooked us up with a game. And then Coach Ben Wilkins over at Seton Hill does a great job. They're right 5 minutes away from us. So, but in both of those games, I was extremely proud in how we competed. If there's something about this team, it's, we're never going to back down from a challenge, no matter who we're playing, Division 1, 2, or 3. So to compete with Robert Morris and have it at 6 at half, and then by the end of the game, their size and wore us down a little bit, and same with Seton Hill. But we just proved to ourselves that we can compete with anybody. So I think early on playing those 2 games, even though we lost those 2, but it showed we can compete at that level, and I think that brought us to where we are now.
It's interesting because technically you were on an 11-game winning streak when you finished 25's portion of the season, though you had those 2 games which were losses because they were exhibitions. So then you go in, and by the way, part of those 11 wins were Albright and John Carroll on back-to-back nights at the end of December. Pitt Bradford, which we'll get back to, by 1 on the road in early December. Bolden Wallace and some others along the way. But then you head into the new year, non-conference against Westminster. They beat up on you 88-79. Then you played Penn State Barron in conference play and lose by 6. Technically, that's a 2-game losing streak after an 11-game winning streak. We also know you had those other losses. Like, how do you balance those things right after those 2 losses with what your team is doing, but maybe now not doing?
Sure. We knew that stretch was going to be tough going into the tournament at Albright. We know we had Albright first, and then the second night, whether it was John Carroll or Stockton, we knew it was going to be a tough one. Westminster, Dave Richards does a great job up there, and same with Penn State Barron, obviously, which is where I came from last, Coach Nyland. So my goal was I would have been happy if we would have got through that stretch, 2-2, which we ended up doing. After we got those 2 at Albright against Albright and John Carroll, I thought, we could keep it going. But credit to our guys. We went on the road to Westminster, and they played really well. They got a lot of guys, a lot of seniors as well, just like us. And then at Penn State Barron, coming off of a loss, we were prepared to go, and I thought our guys played well. They made more plays than us. So, at that point, we kind of just had to regroup with conference play, then getting into full swing, and, just go back to our approach, which is just get a little bit better each day, and, try to be playing our best ball come January and February. And, we watch film, win, loss, whatever, and just try to get better. And we did that. Got back on the right path there, after the Barron game, and but having a group of older guys, really helps to get our locker room and get our practice back to where it needs to be after a win or a loss. So just a lot of credit for our team being player driven in those moments, and also understanding for me and our coaching staff what we need to do to get better to make those improvements.
It's a dynamic that you've got those 2 games. You go on a 3-game winning streak. You then lose to La Roche. You go on a 4-game losing streak. La Roche gets you again. You're now back on a 3-game losing streak. And guess who's up? La Roche. So they've been the only one really a thorn in your side since mid-January, where you have really played well in this conference. And we should point out, you got another win over Pitt Bradford as well, 110-97. There's some quirks with the Pitt Bradford thing I want to get to you about in a minute, but the La Roche thing is the one that stands out. You lose by 3 on the road on January 21st. You lose by 2 at home on Feb 11, and now you got to play them again. Now, the old adage is it's hard to beat a good team 3 times, but we also know that's not accurate, right? We know it happens all the time. Every single year, somebody gets beat 3 times. How are you getting ready for this game, knowing any future plays, like it's win or go home, right? or win and stay home in your case. Tell me about this matchup.
Yeah, Coach Hermie Carmichael does a great job with his group. Credit to them. They graduated a great senior class last year, so they've got a younger squad here, and he's got them rolling. They always do a great job scheduling non-conference opponents early in the season to get them prepared for conference play. And it was 2 battles, the first 2 games. I thought it could have went either way, and I'm sure this is how I'm sure that's how this third one will go as well. It's going to be a tight battle. It's going to be a war. It's going to come down to who makes the most shots, who makes the most plays. But, I don't know if I think our guys will be ready to go. I have practice this week's been really good. We're going to stick to what we do and who we are. That's what we've done all year. So, I don't think there'll be many surprises on what we're trying to do. But I could just sense, though, in practice this week that these guys know that it's win or go home, especially with an older group. 4 of our starters are seniors. And, I think you're going to see 100% effort, in everything we do here tomorrow. I've been happy with how we've been preparing so far and, what we need to do to get ready. And at this point, all that's left is to get out there and go play.
Tell me a little bit about these guys. You're led by Trent Rosich, senior player. He was newcomer of the year last year in the conference, 3rd team all-conference. Prior to that, he actually came from Richland. But do I have this right? I read somewhere that he used to be a soccer player, kind of transitioned to the game.
Yeah. So I would say he was probably even a better soccer player than basketball player in high school. I thought he was. Yeah.
That's my sport, man.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I played soccer in college, so I get it.
Striker up top, forward just would outrun guys, headers, all types of stuff. And I thought he was actually going to go play soccer in college, but he ended up not doing that. And he's a special player. In high school, he was probably about 160, 65 pounds. He's about 205 right now. He's just been a maniac in the weight room. He's just a tough matchup. And you look at his stats, he scores it, he rebounds it. He has 112 assists this year. We'll go 5 out and just let him bring the ball up as our 5-man. And his first couple steps are so quick and so fast. He can just get by you and dunk on you, or if you put a guard on him, we can post you up and get it into him. So, he's a mismatch in a lot of different ways, but, also he's a very unselfish player. There's times me and the coaching staff are, every game I feel like we're like, hey, you could go score whenever you want to sometimes. But I think that's what makes this team special is we've got a group of guys like him that, don't care who scores. We just want to get the best shot at all times. And, Trent's just awesome character kid too, and a guy that you love having around on the court and off the court. And you see the work he puts in the weight room and in the gym. It's no wonder why he's having success.
Yeah, averaging 16.5 points a game, 7+ rebounds per contest. He had to have been a goalie.
He was a forward. He was
a forward.
How about that? Yeah, I could have never guessed that one.
6'5", 180 forward. Lord.
Yeah, I know. He was a forward up top, just would outrun guys, the long balls, and but he was dangerous up there.
Yeah, you're right. I'm surprised he didn't play in college. He still could technically. Now he's in his 3rd year. Does that mean he technically has another year?
He does. So he will graduate from Pitt-Greensburg here in the spring, but he will have 1 year left. And our coaches have already asked about him because we don't have grad school here. So he's figuring out, unfortunately, we'd love to, he'd set a bunch of records, but, he's going to go get his master's somewhere. Not sure what the plan is yet. So we've been talking about that the last few weeks, but, we'll see what happens at the end of the season.
Interesting. Tell me a little bit about another one of your seniors, Matthew Marinchak, Linganore, Pennsylvania native. By the way, love the goggles. This guy rocks the goggles.
Absolutely.
tell me a little bit about him, because it feels like he's a little bit of the catalyst of other guys you've gotten on this team as well.
No, absolutely. That's been awesome for us. He was probably the first guy that committed to me when I got the job 5 years ago. I think he was the first recruit, and he's been such a big piece of what we do on both sides of the floor. But he's, he can shoot it with the best of them from three, his mid-range. He's another guy, though, that, every morning he's up 5 or 6 in the morning with his trainer, working out, making himself the best player he can be. And the funny thing is him, Trent Rosich, and Jackson Byer all played AAU basketball together.
That's what I thought I read. Okay.
So there's no reason, there's no wonder why, I think we have the chemistry we have. These guys have been playing together since they were 10, 11, 12 years old. But Matt, he's over 1,500 points. He's going to go down in school history as one of the top 3-4 scorers. But can't say enough about him. But again, another unselfish guy that just worked his butt off and to get to where he was. And but also a big part of teams' defensive scouting reports or game plans. There, early in the year, he had a bunch of big scoring games. Then you saw teams kind of adjust and try to shut him down and deny him, and then that just opened up other guys like Jackson or Trent or Michael Bigley, Ty Keffer. So. And he was great about it. He didn't complain. He turned into a screener and did some different things so that guys could open up. But he's had an awesome attitude and he's worked really hard.
All right, let me pivot to this conference. You've got obviously an important game coming up. You got La Roche, as we talked about, conference tournament, win or go home. I'm pretty sure we'll double check those numbers, but I'm pretty sure it's win or stay home, whatever you want to say. You got to win the AQ. What I find interesting is there's a bit with Pitt Bradford where they were using a player who's ineligible for the second half of the season. You played him on the 6th and you won. Okay, fine. You played him on the 21st, or the 6th of December, I should say, and you played him on the 21st of February and won. So it's not like we're dealing with a loss here. But I find it interesting because you played him without that player. You had to play him. You get wins. Everybody else got these kind of wins for losses, right? Like picked up losses, kind of really reshaped the conference standings, as it were. Is that frustrating? I know it's out of your control. I know it's not something that you can change, but it may have changed how these standings finished, right? It could have had an impact on if you were first or second, not playing La Roche tonight, that kind of stuff. Is that a little frustrating that outside thing has kind of impacted how this is playing out?
I don't think so. I know, but it's something, again, that was kind of out of our control. And I spoke with their coach, with Dan Smay. Was it the 21st we played them? And, just one of those honest mistakes and, didn't catch it at first. But, it definitely shuffled some things in the standings for sure. With who would have been first, second, third, fourth. But, it bumped Alfred State into the tournament. So some things definitely shuffled, but it was something that, when it happened, after it happened, we kind of just went on and we played the game and moved on from there. But yeah, it was definitely something that changed some things up. But I wouldn't say it frustrated me. And I think it was just something that was kind of, that happened, and there was reactions. There were, things that changed because of it. And we kind of just went on and doing what we were doing.
Again, you got La Roche ahead. This is an offense that averages 80 some odd points a game. I think it's 88.5. It feels a little bit like a team we were talking about earlier at Cortland, where the offense is a bit freewheeling, a little bit of freedom. You go at it and then you focus on shutting things down. By the way, you're 4th in the country in 3-point percentage this year. So you obviously are taking those outside shots. What's the mentality? Is it freewheeling as it looks, or do you have a mentality to it? And how do you approach the postseason when it's win or stay home with that kind of offense where you're letting it go a little bit?
Yeah, we definitely give our guys, a lot of confidence in what they want to do on offense. We have some different alignments, our 4 out, 1 in, and 5 out. But we really like to get it and go in transition. And then if we don't have something, we try to get into an action. But I think sometimes it's hard to guard when you have 5 different guys, in our case, that can go make a play at any time. And we get into different 2-man games and 3-man games on different sides of the floor where, again, we've had those 3 guys, Jackson, Matt, and Trent, who played AU together. So they'll do some stuff in practice in our offense, and I'll add it to the playbook that they'll just do randomly, and I'll let them name the play. And it's pretty cool, though, because these guys are just playing basketball at the end of the day. And I think sometimes that's the hardest teams to guard, especially when you're trying to do a scouting report. Like, obviously, we have our sets and we have our alignments we want to do. But, yeah, there's definitely some room to operate and room to be creative in what we do. And we have the people that can do it. If we had a different roster, I think we might have some more control, do some different things. But with the guys we have, I think it's done well for us. You said we're averaging 85, 86 points a game and shooting it over 50% from the field, and almost, I think, 37, 38% from 3. So, but we've got the group that can do that. And, it's a lot of guys that have made a lot of plays for us.
Obviously, a grad of St. Vincent, you know this region, you know this style of play, you know what you can get there. You also spent some time at Penn State Barron. Again, deep knowledge of this region. You're 10-1 at Chambers Hall. That one loss being LaRoche. How are you taking advantage of your knowledge of the area in terms of getting everybody maybe to kind of support you at the Hall and make it a biggest ruckus crowd as you can to have that be a true home court advantage coming up in that one?
Yeah, so well, actually, Dave, but the game will be up at Penn State Barron.
Right. That's right. Everybody goes to, right. I forgot about the neutral
site. It's a little
site.
different in our league.
Apologies.
So no worries. But so we'll travel up.
Well, then how do you get everybody there?
So we're actually, RAD, Lou Zadecki's been awesome. First year here with us, he was at Carlo before. We're getting a bus to go up with students, cheerleaders, fans. So we're going to bring that Chambers Hall up to Erie, PA. It might be a little colder, a little bit more snow up there, but we're gonna bring them up there and try to make it like as much as Chambers Hall as we can up there in the Junker Center up at Penn State Barron. So, but you're right. I mean, we've had the crowd. It's been a great home court, and again, so bring some familiar faces up, make it feel like a home game.
I totally forgot that game was up there. I
No
can't
worries.
keep track in my head of all the conference setups. 2.5 hour drive north up I-79 for those of you wondering, onto the banks of the Lake Erie. Wonderful season, right? Obviously, there's a lot to build from. You'll detox from that when the season comes to a close. Hopefully, not anytime soon. What's the message though in the locker room at this juncture? You guys have had a great year. I know there's unfinished business. What's the message?
Yeah, I just think it's, and plenty of coaches are saying the same thing, but leave nothing out there. I mean, this could be your last time playing basketball, last time with this group of guys in the locker room. So you just don't want to have any regrets when that final buzzer rings. And I think that those guys are taking this to heart. It's one heck of a group. I've tried to do some reflecting the last few weeks and just really enjoy every day to day, every practice, every minute with these guys, because I know when it's over, it's going to be over quick. So try to enjoy it and get the most out of this group. But I think that, the vibe in the locker room is that, they don't want this thing to end just yet. It's been a special run, but, I think that we're set to be prepared for whatever is in front of us, and excited to see how the year finishes out.
Well, I'm impressed. Great season. I know kind of overshadowed in the AMCC, but I mean, it's been interesting. Like the entire AMCC has been interesting. Pitt-Greensburg having a great season. LaRoche, as you said, despite what they lost, having a great season. Pitt-Bradford, before it kind of unraveled on them, was having a pretty good season. It's been fun to watch the AMCC from afar. I'm sorry it took us this long to get to you, but congratulations. Good luck this weekend. As you know, we have a tradition on this show. We always give the guests the final word. Chris, any final thoughts you'd like to share with those who may be tuned in today?
Yeah, just again, I appreciate all the time and energy that you put into D3 basketball. It's really cool to see the different spotlights of programs. You think about how many schools there are out there, over 400 or whatever it is, but to put the spotlights on these programs, it's really cool. So we just appreciate everything you do in our D3 community and what I think is the purest form of college basketball, especially nowadays. So thank you for what you do, Dave.
Well, thanks, Chris. Appreciate that. I'll clip that too. Why not? Yeah, why not? Well, that will be the ego clip. I appreciate it so much, Chris. Congratulations again. Look forward to seeing what you build into the future. Enjoy it at the very least up on Lake Erie, and we'll look forward to catching up with you another time.
Sounds good. Thanks again, Dave.
Thank you, Chris. Take care. Chris Klimchak joining us here on the Hoopsville Hotline talking about his Pitt-Greensburg team. It might be the first time we've had a Pitt-Greensburg program on the show. I think it's 2 now. I don't think we've had St. Mary's, Minnesota on the show. I could be wrong about that. I know we haven't had women, so great to have them on and just talk about dying. I'm waiting for someone to tell me they've got ties to St. Mary's and Cortland, too. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll put a bow on the show. We'll wrap it up with some thoughts. I might even make a bold prediction of an upset coming up Friday. Do I dare it? We'll see. Maybe. You're watching Hoopsville, presented by D3Hoops.com from the WBCA studios. I got 3.5 minutes to decide if I want to go for that prediction. Back with more after this.
We've got more schools than Division I, more fans than Division II, and more upsets than March Madness. There's nearly 850 programs with over 11,000 games leading to 2 national championships. And we've been covering it all for over 2 decades. From Eastern to Occidental, from Puget Sound to Piedmont, from Southwestern to the University of New England, and from Hope to Calvin. Nobody covers Division III basketball like we do. We're D3Hoops.com at www.d3hoops.com.
The National Association of Basketball Coaches is the nation's premier professional development and advocacy organization for basketball coaches at every level. The NABC strives to serve as the voice for coaches on national issues while advancing the core value of leadership, service, advocacy, education, and inclusion. To learn more about the NABC and to become a member, visit nabc.com and follow the NABC on social media at NABC1927. That's nabc.com or NABC1927 on social media.
It's on us to stop sexual assault.
In any way that we can.
To get a friend home safe.
To never blame the victim.
It's on us.
To stand up.
To make our community safe for all. It's on us.
It's on us to look out for each other at parties.
It's on us.
To be more than just a bystander.
To step up and say something.
It's on us, all of us.
To stop sexual assault.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
If I lose, I'll respond with respect.
If I win, I'll back it up with humility.
If I fail, I'll rise up with honor. It's tough for us to put it all on the line.
Don't undo my hard work with poor sportsmanship.
Respect. It's the name of the game.
Coach of the Year, Administrator of the Year, All-America Team, Wade Trophy. The WBCA doesn't just honor coaches, but players, administrators, and much more. The WBCA strives to honor those who have contributed to the advancement of women's basketball. Celebrate the present, honor the past, look to the future.
I used to never really talk. Ever. I was afraid if I said something wrong, everyone would laugh at me. But then I started to play golf with Special Olympics. It helped me to find my voice. And now everyone else is speechless.
We've got more schools than Division I, more fans than Division II, and more upsets than March Madness. There's nearly 850 programs with over 11,000 games leading to 2 national championships. And we've been covering it all for over 2 decades. From Eastern to Occidental, from Puget Sound to Piedmont, from Southwestern to the University of New England, and from Hope to Calvin. Nobody covers Division III basketball like we do. We're D3Hoops.com at www.d3hoops.com.
Welcome back to Hoopsville, everybody. Thanks for taking the time. Door is open because the mascot of the show, Tucker, has arrived in studio. Otherwise, you can't see it. But we do have a Cabrini jersey on the wall along with Villa Julie. You saw it at the beginning of the show. Really cool. Thank you to Marcus Kahn for sending in the Cabrini surprise. His Mary Washington Eagles jersey sitting up there as well on the wall, along with Mount Union and Vassar, Loris, TCNJ, Merchant Marine, Redlands just off camera. We will get more jerseys on the wall. We do have a plan. You kind of can see some on the floor as well, leaning against the wall. We're going to get some more on. Of course, we got Hood jersey, which we've been wearing today because why not? It fits. We need help with those, getting some new jersey hangers, though. These are specialty hangers that allow us to display the jerseys as you see them. They're from Jersey Genius, which is part of Chalk Talk, a company that we had a relationship with for a number of years. We have an Amazon wish list on our show page. There's a link on the right-hand side right below our Buy Me a Coffee link. If you don't mind, go there. Consider maybe sending us some new hangers. They are slightly expensive, but they are certainly cheaper than framing. And framing also has some limitations to it. The advantage of these is we can maybe hang them underneath each other and stuff to create more space. Versus frames would limit that space. So we like doing it. So if you don't mind helping us, you can also go to buymeacoffee.com/Hoopsville. Become a Hoopsville member. Donate monthly to get additional content and more. And the other option, too, is just to flat out make a donation, either monthly or individually. So I appreciate any help you can give us as we march our way to the end of the 25-26 basketball regular season. A reminder, Sunday night, we will know who's in and out of the NCAA tournament thanks to the NPI numbers, and we'll start talking about bracketing. Hopefully on Sunday night, we'll talk to both committee chairs about the bracketing process and a lot of other information, plus maybe talk to Ryan Scott or whomever. We're still working on the show in terms of what they think on how the brackets may come together in men's and women's basketball. Also talk to a couple of teams that have punched their ticket, maybe as a surprise or for a first time. Then Monday, we'll have the selection shows 1 p.m. on NCAA.com for the men, 2:30 p.m. for the women. I am scheduled to be part of those programs at this time. And then we will do a bracket breakdown show at 4 p.m. Eastern time, hopefully talking to both committee chairs about the decisions they made, but more importantly, also talking about how we see the brackets playing out. Scott Peterson may be able to join us with a data dive on the women's side, and we'll maybe talk to Ryan Scott. Similar but different on the men's side. So that's what's ahead here on Hoopsville. Appreciate your support. Give us some more support if you can. We appreciate all the help you can provide us to continue our work now and into the future. All right, so I debated about making a bold prediction. I'm feeling like I want to make a bold prediction. Why not? This one nearly worked out for me a couple of weeks ago when we talked on the top 25 that Johns Hopkins women's basketball might be a little bit exposed. Their scores do not indicate it, but I am curious. They played McDaniel back on February 11th at home, got a 50-43 win. Here's what I find interesting. I saw them against Gettysburg on the 4th. They held on to win 66-63, and they had their full lineup, best I could tell. However, since that game, they have been without the services, strangely enough, of one of their biggest players. Now, she's listed at 6'2". I don't know if she is 6'2". I will say that when I saw Hopkins, they were bigger in size than I expected to see. But Jocelyn Goldstein, their center at 6'2", freshman out of Philadelphia, again listed as 6'2", has not played since the Gettysburg game. I don't remember seeing her get hurt. Now, She played 27 minutes, was 7 of 11. I scored 16 points, pulled down 9 boards. I think it was 9 boards. Yeah, 9 boards. Is that right? No, maybe she pulled down 13 boards. She had a double-double. Apologies. Yeah, she had a double-double, pulled down 13 boards. I might go back and watch. There may have been a moment late where she may have gotten tweaked, but I don't remember it. All I know is she's been out since. She has not played a game. So now go to the fact that McDaniel came in 10 days later with one of the best boxing out teams I've seen this season. We talk about Elena Beckett, but this team at McDaniel is got so much size, and they can play outside and inside. It's not funny. I'm looking at the wrong box score. Apologies. So the last time they played McDaniel earlier this year on January 21st, Goldstein on the road was 10 of 15, had 9 rebounds for 20 points and 3 blocks. Beckett did not play in that game for McDaniel. She was injured. She had tried to play against Gettysburg, was too injured to do so. She did not play. Reagan Lentz led the team with 17 points and Taya McConaughey with 13 points. They got out-rebounded 50-37. Okay, so understand that. Now go to the February 11th game, actually a week after the Gettysburg game that we were talking about. It's at Goldfarb. Now Elena Beckett's back in. She goes 4 of 13 from the floor, including 2 of 6 from beyond the arc. Pulls down 5 rebounds and a quiet night at 14 points. She's the only one in double figures for McDaniel. Hopkins, without Goldstein, is led by Lauren Knudsen, their outside presence, along with Kendall Dunham, who I swear never leaves the floor, though she did in this game. They were both made 6 shots. Knudsen at 6 of 13, Dunham at 6 of 15. They score in double figures. The rebounding margin was McDaniel, 45-42. The final score was Johns Hopkins 50, McDaniel 43. McDaniel nearly pulled off the upset. In fact, if not for Hopkins winning the fourth quarter 15-7, there's a chance Green Terror do pull off the upset. Well, guess who plays each other on Friday in the semifinals of the conference tournament in Baltimore? It's McDaniel. So here's my question. Is Goldstein back? And if she's back, is she 100%? And we don't know what's wrong. McDaniel knows they can win that, and now Beckett is stronger, because I think that might have been, let me go to McDaniel's website. That might have been her first game back after sitting a bunch of games. Let me look this up real quick. Apologies for the delay on this. I didn't think to do this. By the way, for Gettysburg, Beckett is an amazing player, arguably an All-American. She's the only senior on this team. She's been a second-team All-Conference for 3 years, which I think is insane. I don't know how she wasn't first team at least last year. But you look at her stats for this year. I'm just looking at games played. She played against Gettysburg. Okay, she came back against Muhlenberg, and no, I have this wrong. Yeah, Gettysburg she played. So she got hurt, I believe, in the Swarthmore game. Tried to play 11 days later against Gettysburg, couldn't. Took another break and came back for the Hopkins game on the 11th. She's been playing since. 20, 25, 7 against Muhlenberg, 16 against Dickinson. My point being, Beckett's back, looks to be at 100%. I saw her against Gettysburg where she scored 25 points on 8 of 22 shooting, including 5 of 11. Hit a bunch of shots early, hit a bunch of shots late. So you now have a healthy Beckett, and if Goldstein's not back, I think Hopkins is exposed. Does it pop a bubble? Unknown. If they pull off the upset, does it pop a bubble? I don't know. Hopkins is a lock. So I guess Gettysburg's at an 81% chance of being in the tournament too. So if Gettysburg were to knock off McDaniel in the conference title game, then there's no bubble burst. But if McDaniel pulls off the upset again and beats Gettysburg in that title game, then there is a bubble, right? So that's kind of how this plays out a little bit. So again, this is a game I'm going to have my eye on Friday, even though I'll be busy at Gettysburg with their semifinal games. Men are first, by the way. Both Hopkins and Gettysburg are hosting doubleheaders. Men's games will be at 6. Women's games following at 8-ish. I'm telling you now, I could see Hopkins losing in this semifinal for their first loss of the season. And maybe now that I've said it out loud, it's not going to happen because it's going to filter back and people are like, oh my God, they're picking against you. Maybe it doesn't happen now. But I could see an undefeated team losing this weekend, at least one. Of the other top 25 on the women's side, I don't know. I can't see NYU losing to Brandeis. Scranton could lose to Susquehanna if they're playing Susquehanna. They're playing Catholic first, and they just dispatched Catholic 78-40 in their previous game, and earlier this year beat them 71-41. So I don't see Scranton losing to Catholic, and they beat Susquehanna in earlier occasions this year, 79-57 and 94-53. So I'm not leaning in hard that Scranton are going to overlook their landmark opponents and not finish the season undefeated. W&L had an interesting game against Roanoke, but pulled it off 73-55. They've got 2 games left in their campaign. They'll play against Shenandoah in the semifinals of the conference tournament at the Salem Civic Center, and then the championship game. If there's another upset, it might be W&L of undefeated teams, but I'm not holding my breath. And that's it. So you got NYU, Scranton, Hopkins, and W&L. Of that 4, I think 3 get through unscathed. I think Hopkins loses. Because if Goldstein's not back, and I'm not saying Goldstein, I don't think plays as big as her 6'2" roster size indicates, but she's still a presence. That double-double against Gettysburg was pretty impressive, considering at times Hopkins was really getting out-rebounded and getting outplayed on the boards by Gettysburg. So that's kind of the one that jumps out at me right now. There are going to be upsets aplenty. We talked about bubble teams and places to follow for the bubbles on the men's and women's side. I'm not going to show the graphic we had from now 2 weeks ago. No, a week ago. Geez, I'm losing track of time here. Because it could have changed, and Matt and Scott's data could offset what they're trying to say. But there are bubbles that will be burst, and we will see at-large teams who thought they had a chance miss out. If you got a question for us, send them to us quick before we wrap up this show. Email us, hoopsville@d3sports.com, or send it to us in the live show or on Twitter. I got to get going to pick up my son to get him to a haircut. Notice I got mine already cut. I've lost a ton of weight. I had a lot of hair. But because we're going to have to wrap up and get going, the podcast might get slightly delayed depending on how things go. In the meantime, while you're trying to maybe throw a question into the mix for me, I want to thank Cortland's Kearney for coming on the show and his sports information director, Fran Elia. I want to thank St. Mary's, Minnesota head coach Courtney Shelton for coming on the show. Great to chat with her, especially as they get ready for their Concordia Moorhead game tonight. They're actually in a hotel room getting ready for that game. I want to also thank Abby Campion. Sorry, Abby, botched the name there, for her help. From Bowdoin, thank you, Meg Phelps and Grace Kinham, for joining us on the show. And from Cortland, I want to thank, from Cortland, Lord, I cannot read. Excuse me. I got a cough building. Jim Caton. Sorry, Jim. My brain is just not clicking. From Bowdoin for his help in putting the show together. And most importantly, thank you, Chris Klimchak, as well, for help. And more importantly, Alex Rolfe for his help, or her help. Her help. Yeah, her help. Alex, thank you very much for your help in getting this show put together and the information that they provide and availability to come on the show. If you'd like to send us a jersey for me to either wear or any other gear to wear, I don't see myself wearing a lot of other jerseys, but if you have other gear you want me to wear, you have a jersey to put up on the wall, you have some swag you want us to put on the shelves, send it to us. Email us, hoopsville@d3sports.com. We will get you all the particulars on how you can go about doing that. Also go to buymeacoffee.com/hoopsville. That's buymeacoffee.com/hoopsville. Help us out by signing up for a Hoopsville membership, which gains you access for a little longer for this week's Top 25 before we release it to the public, the Top 25 Double Take Show. You'll also get my Top 25 ballots. I got to send out this week's ballot. Maybe later tonight I'll be able to get that done after a gig. Excuse me. And then in the future, the Off-Court podcast and some other things coming along shortly, but that's buymeacoffee.com. You can also just flat out donate. You can make that a monthly donation if you don't care about the perks, but we've also got perks available as well. Any of your help is most certainly appreciative, and we thank you tremendously from the bottoms of our hearts. We've had the QR code on the screen all show as well to make that happen. Thanks to all of you who tuned in on the show live. We appreciate your support too. Got a lot of basketball ahead of us, folks. D3datacast.com, the D3statlab.com, and of course, D3hoops.com are your go-tos for the next few days. D3hoops.com, we have the conference trackers. You can see who's in the tournament in each conference, who's won, who's lost, who's got the AQ, what their at-large chances look like. We've got those painstakingly put together by Pat Coleman, Ryan Scott, and Gordon Mann. And then behind the scenes at D3datacast.com and the D3statlab.com is where the Snyder brothers and Scott Peterson respectfully have their websites with D3 analytical and NPI data and all of that. You can get a sense, the D3 Datacast guys have like a solid 75 to 100% chance of making it, or you have the locks. You have the solid chances, the bubble ins, the bubble outs, the probably outs. Scott Peterson does it similar but different. He kind of indicates where the at-large points are. If you get closer to the number 2021, your at-large chances are getting more and more dicey. For example, St. Mary's, Minnesota, Scott Peterson has them as an at-large 17. That means nobody can be upset. And if nobody's upset, they go 17th. But every time we get an upset and a bid thief takes place and a bubble pops, that 17 becomes 18, that 18 becomes 19, that 19 becomes 20, that be 21. And as soon as you drift outside 20, you are now in deep trouble on making it as an at-large. So obviously, the point is go out there and win, right? Go out and win your conference, secure the AQ. The AQ guarantees you win in a tournament. In some cases, is going to guarantee you some of the chances at hosting as well, which is just as important as anything else. So thank you for tuning in, everybody. Appreciate it. We'll be back on the air Sunday, aiming for 6:30. We'll get you information. Stick with us on Twitter at D3Hoopsville, hashtag Hoopsville, along with Threads and Instagram for the same address, Facebook.com/Hoopsville. We dipped our toe in the water at Blue Sky, which is also at D3Hoopsville. Go to those locations. We will send out the information ahead of time so you know when to tune in to said show. And we'll look forward to chatting with you. You know what? Maybe we even dabble and do a member-only show starting at 6, and then we'll jump into an all-public show at 7, something along those lines. Maybe we'll answer just membership questions. So sign up for a Hoopsville membership, and you'll get early access to our Selection Sunday show. Maybe that's something we'll do. And that is a wrap. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it. You've been listening to Hoopsville, presented by D3Hoops.com from the WBCA studios. Thanks to our supporters at D3Hoops.com, the Women's Basketball Coaches Association, for all of their support. And also especially thanks to our D3 Hoops members, or I should say our Hoopsville members, for supporting us along the way as well. We hope you're enjoying your membership, and let other people know to sign up as well. We'll be back on Sunday night for Selection Sunday, followed by Bracket Breakdown on Monday at 4 p.m. after the brackets are out at 1 p.m. on the men's side, 2:30 p.m. on the women's side, both times Eastern. Thanks for tuning in. So much good basketball ahead of us. If you don't get a chance to go to a game, log on, check out some streams online. There's going to be some dandies of some games coming, and it's well worth your time. You've been listening to Hoopsville, presented by D3Hoops.com for the WBCA studios. If you want to talk Division III basketball, you've got to watch Hoopsville.